Why, thank you, Adam. Good morning.
Morning, Adam.
Can we start a text chain
No,
with about 10 people and not be interested in any of it?
no. I was glad you stayed out.
What was I supposed to add?
That's why I'm glad you stayed out.
I'm not going to say anything snarky and something like that. You know better than that.
No, actually, I don't know better than that. My initial reaction was to respond, Multi, who the fuck are you talking to?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you prefer Davy or Multi?
Yeah, exactly.
One minute.
Ambien, are you in Colorado? Because the fact of the matter that you're up in the 4 a.m. to watch this show would really impress me or scare the hell out of me. One or the other.
One or the other.
$30 seconds.
Wow. Wow, Ambien.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you, the final Tuesday of the month, where we ask the question, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Heck of a show lined up for you today. Nothing but winners. That's how we roll, baby. Nothing but winners. David Samson, who's got a new deal. We'll have him tell you all about it if you don't already know about it. Jim Crutchfield, he led Nova Southeastern to a 36-0 undefeated national championship season. And Jim Larranaga, who's got the Canes in their first ever Final Four. Old hat for him, he's already been. That's how we roll, Mark. Is that worth getting up for?
Absolutely. I like that you preface it by winners. Joining a couple of,
Right.
guys.
Right. Couple of 4.5s on a scale of 1 to 10. There you go. You add it up and whoo. There you go. Listen, we're fooling them again. They don't know what show they're on.
Exactly.
It sounds impressive. Got a network, syndication, everything.
2 nickels to rub together for pay. We're all set. Let's get this sucker going.
That's right. 1 each. Let's not spend it all in the same spot. There you go. So what was it like last night? You know, unless you took in some of the women's madness, which most people do not. Okay. So what was it like not having madness? You had to talk to a family member last night. You're searching through the TV. You're like, it was not even a big night in hockey or NBA either. It's like, well, what the heck? I need something.
I watched a little of the women last night.
Okay.
I watched a little of the women until South Carolina kind of took control second half and was kind of waiting for that to happen because they're pretty damn good.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, I think they're also 36-0, something like that. Maybe 38. No, I don't know. It's just so many.
I know the O is at the end.
Right. Here's all I know. It's them against Caitlin Clark on Friday night. I've got a date night. Wife already asked, what are we doing Friday night? I said, I got a date with Caitlin Clark. She just looked at me. I go, it's not very often that I run off with another woman. It's only for about 2.5 hours. South Carolina against Caitlin Clark in Iowa. That's my Friday night, baby.
I'm telling you, it's hot in the Moulton house once again. Nothing says experience life quite like date night with South Carolina and Iowa.
My wife's like, hold on a second. So Caitlin Clark got added to the list? I'm like, no, not the list. All right, not the list. But, for a Friday night date night, yeah. As a matter of fact, yes. I'm in.
And you should be too. It's before, and she may stay at Iowa next year. She has no real need to go to the WNBA because she's making a boatload of money at Iowa with NIL.
I was going to say, you can make far more now in college than you can in the WNBA.
From what I understand, and I've got a couple of good friends who are dialed into Iowa pretty tightly, it's not even close that she's the highest paid athlete at the University of Iowa.
Well, heck, the only two people who should be making more money than her are the football and the men's basketball coach.
Got that right.
And I got to be honest with you. I think she should be making more than Fran McCaffrey, but that's just, just one man's opinion.
I might stare at you for 30, 40 seconds now and get a little closer each time.
Right. That's what Fran's doing to me. What'd you say, Moulton?
Yeah.
All right. And he's just glaring at me. You know what would have been good? When Lee Cassell, the official in the Creighton San Diego State game, made that call, is if he had made it against Fran McCaffrey in Iowa, and Fran just would have come out and stared at him the whole time. Because remember, Creighton called the timeout, their last timeout, to ice the free throw shooter. All right. If Fran McCaffrey had just come out and stared at him, that would have been epic. Ian Eagle would have been doing the play-by-play of the stare down. Would have been great. I digress.
It looks as if there's another stare down. And I don't know if stare down is the right phrase, but it allowed me to transition into Lamar yesterday and the Ravens, and Lamar basically coming out and saying that he asked for a trade on March 2nd, a mere 5 minutes before Harbaugh took the podium at the owners' meetings.
Fantastic timing. Yes. So, wait, I'm sorry. What did he just say? He requested a trade almost 4 weeks ago. Coach, you know anything about this? What are you talking about? Lamar just tweeted out he requested a trade from you guys. Care to comment? John's like, oh, come on. I'm just trying to play golf and have them not change any rules while I'm playing. Really? I'm talking to you guys out of obligation. Come on.
I haven't even seen the tweet. I love that's the answer. I haven't seen the tweet. Okay. Did he demand a trade?
Yeah,
I haven't seen the tweet.
That's not the point.
That really has nothing to do with the question, Coach.
We have, Coach. We have it right here. We can read it to you. It's just he says he requested a trade.
On March 2nd.
Here's what I love, though. Apparently, they're still talking. Kind of, sort of. They're still negotiating. Kind of, sort of. Listen, I respect his position 100%. He feels simply Deshaun Watson got 5 years, $230, fully guaranteed, $46 a year. I'm a more accomplished player than him. Therefore, I should get at least that, probably a little more, fully guaranteed. Any questions? How can you argue with that?
And where they are in a negotiation, it's tough to argue with as well. They made Lamar their best offer. Lamar is not interested in their best offer.
Right.
So
It's
Lamar wants a trade.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
simple negotiations here.
And Lamar is convinced there's a suitor out there that will give him what he wants. Despite what everyone has said publicly, he is convinced there is a suitor that will give him what he wants. And there was a crack in a team's foundation yesterday because the Indianapolis Colts were asked, so Lamar has requested a trade. You guys have any interest in that? And the Colts said, well, as a matter of fact, yeah. All righty then.
Let's play ball.
Okay. Now we're talking.
Now, for Lamar, if he could get Atlanta or Washington or someone else involved in this, it may make things go even more quickly.
Because let's face it, you have to assume if you're going to pick up the phone and even entertain a trade discussion about Lamar Jackson, that you're paying him, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Trade him? Trade for him? And be in the same negotiating position as the Ravens? No. If you're doing a deal, this happens all the time. When there's somebody who's disgruntled and they want out, when somebody says, well, I'll trade for him, well, then they're negotiating a new contract with him. And they're going to give them pretty much what they want. By the way, how much do you think Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are just sitting back there going, go, Lamar, go.
You're damn right.
Go.
Because one and 1.5, if you will, because lost in this whole thing is that Kirk Cousins has had back-to-back guaranteed contracts, and no one seems to pay any attention to that whatsoever. It's all Deshaun Watson's guaranteed contract, albeit that Cousins were 3-year deals.
Right.
Deshaun's is a 5-year deal. But neither here nor there. Cousins got the guaranteed contract, and no one ever makes note of that.
Well, I think he's gotten two guaranteed 3-year deals. Now, it's for far less money. Deshaun's making 46 per, and Cousin got guaranteed deals that I believe were around 28 per and 32 per. But yeah, they were fully guaranteed.
Now, if Deshaun, to me, if he could just split the difference, now I'm not talking money-wise, but years-wise, I don't think it has to be 5. I think if it's 4 in the right money, you could get him. I don't think you have to go 5 years and whatever. I don't. Because right now the market's not saying that you have to do that.
If you're the Indianapolis Colts, you're going to give him 4 and 190? That's 47.5 per. It'll make him top 5 at the position. He'd be behind Rodgers, and I think he'd be behind Russ when Russ's extension kicks in, which I believe is this year. I think Russ is around 48. All right. I think it'd put him 3rd, but it would certainly put him top 5. All right. He's looking for 5. The Ravens have reportedly offered 3. You split the difference. I'll give you 4. I'll give you 190. I'll fully guarantee it. What do you say? Now, then you got to give up draft picks. And the Colts are picking 4th.
Oh, I know. I hate giving up the 4, but I can live with that contract. If we're just talking the dollars in the contract, I can live with a 4-year guaranteed deal for Lamar.
Okay, so if you're the Colts, you're okay with that?
I am.
You'll give up the picks and 4 for 190. Because otherwise you're drafting 4th and you're looking at Richardson or Will Levis. Just so you know. That's why I think the Colts are very much in play here. The Carolina Panthers outflanked the Colts, trading up to 1. Indy's in trouble. Houston ain't moving. I don't believe they are. I don't believe Houston's moving out of 2. They're taking either Stroud or Bryce Young. And the word is they're hoping it's Bryce Young. So from Indianapolis' standpoint, you're okay with that. You'd do it. 4, 190, and the picks.
I would do it.
Okay. If you're Lamar, you've been pounding the table for 5. Would you do 4 fully guaranteed?
I would. I don't know if he will.
Okay. If you're the Ravens, do you match it or do you say, he gone?
I think the Ravens will say he gone.
I think they would too.
I think they've had enough. And not playing in the playoff game last year, I think soured the Ravens on Lamar.
They're still talking to him, though. I mean, I know they got that Pro Bowler Huntley backing him up. He of the 2 touchdowns. Miller and Moulton. Don't you love it when diva wide receivers become diva quarterbacks?
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Did you see the ejection yesterday?
Oh, my goodness.
And David Samson doesn't want people to overreact?
Right.
I'm sorry. This is why I hate the sport. This is my biggest problem with my problem with umpires. Hockey referees don't say squat. Football referees, for the most part, don't say squat. I wish I had swag to send you, Ambient Heat, just for that text right there. That right there is worth. If I had something, I would send it to you. But we don't have any. According to a study by Clever Move, David, Jacksonville, Florida has the worst drivers in the country.
I'll tell you what, it's reflected in my car insurance. It went up $100 a month with the move.
The study cites the average number of driving deaths per 100,000 residents is 10.9 each year, 165% more than the national average.
$30 seconds. $10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Terrific show lined up for you today. It's a Tuesday, so that means David Samson is going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Jim Crutchfield, you may not know who he is, but the Nova Southeastern Sharks went 36-0 this year and won the Division II men's basketball championship, their first ever title. He will join us, their head coach, in a little more than an hour. And in our 8 o'clock hour, Jim Larranaga. You know, Canes head coach, 4 Sweet 16s, 2 Elite 8s, and a Final Four in the last 10 years. He'll join us once again. We got a thing going. He comes on the show, they win. He comes back on the show, they keep winning. We got a thing.
And he'll tell us in the interview today how little he's done,
Right.
how much his assistants have done, and how his players have essentially coached the team.
Right. He's
I don't buy any of it.
He's basically just drinking water or Gatorade and going, wow, this is pretty entertaining. And these guys are good. Who put this team together? Man, I didn't have anything to do with it.
I will say it's changed the way I've watched Canes games since listening to him talk. Now, during any time there's a timeout or stoppage and play, I'm trying, if they have the bench, I just want to see who's talking first. And it's never him.
So maybe he's telling the truth. Tell you what, this team is playing and coaching its way into a Final Four. Larranaga making it sound like he's having less to do with this team than the team managers. You know, they're rebounding the basketball in the shoot around and making sure the clothes are clean. I mean, what's he doing? Sitting in the front of the bus on the way to the games? Taking up a prime seat.
Did you guys see the story that Jim Larranaga said about how his team got stuck in an elevator before the Houston game?
I did.
I did not.
They were they all crammed into an elevator the day before, not the day of the I guess it was in between games.
Right, yeah.
It was the day after the Houston game, the day before the Texas game. I don't know if they were going to a shoot around or going to do whatever, but they all got into the elevator.
That's too many.
The elevator got stuck.
Mm.
Took 30 minutes for them to come get the team out of the elevator, but Larranaga told them before the Texas game that you got to play defense like you were in that elevator. In the paint, you've got to be like you were in that
No,
elevator.
it was in the middle of a huddle, and it was against Houston because Houston was hitting too many threes, and he was telling them that they need to pound the paint, and he said that we're playing too spread. Imagine that we're stuck in that elevator still, and they did that. So yeah, phenomenal coaching by Coach L.
I love the tweet yesterday. I forget who it was that said, if Jim Boeheim had a nice younger brother, it would be Jim Larranaga.
Yep.
And there's a picture of Larranaga smiling, and you can see in which it's like, you could pass this off. You could. They're within 5 years of each other too, I believe, in age. So you could pass this off. But Miller and Moulton, listen, we're going to quiz David Samson on this coming up at the top of the hour. He wants us not to make a big deal of this.
Oh boy.
But did anybody see the spring training ejection yesterday? It was the Phillies and the Jays and the
yeah.
Jays. So I don't know if it was in Dunedin where the Jays have spring training or if it was in Clearwater where the Phillies have spring training. All right. I know the broadcast that I saw was the Jays broadcast. So that leads me to believe that it was probably in Dunedin.
It was.
But first off, for there to be an ejection in a spring training game, I mean, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, you would need what was it? It's at least a decade ago when the Rays and Yanks got into it in a spring, hard slide.
That's 15 years ago. That was the Rays breakthrough 08 season in which it happened in spring training. Yeah, I mean,
there was reason for ejections in that game.
Yeah, guys were getting hit by pitches and slides at second and the whole deal. Right. That's when the Rays decided it's on.
Yeah, that was the moment the Rays said we're not going to be pushed around anymore by anybody in the AL East.
Right.
But outside of that in spring training, 15 years ago, David, I can't. I mean, I'm sure there have been times in which a player has said something, but yesterday's expressed my love for umpires.
So Randy Rosenberg is a home plate umpire. Randy, I believe, is in his third year full time. He got a cup of coffee at the end of 2020. And then I believe this is his third year full time in the majors. So he's a young ump. JT Realmuto is behind the plate for the Phillies. You could argue it's the best catcher in baseball. All around catcher. I'd be comfortable making that argument, by the way. So apparently, there's a home plate umpire and the catcher. Does the plate umpire give the ball to the catcher and the catcher throws the ball to the pitcher? Every now and then, the home plate umpire wants to stretch his arm and he says, no, I got it. He throws the ball to the pitcher. So apparently there was a foul ball and the home plate umpire, Rosenberg, threw the ball to the pitcher. So a few pitches later, there's another foul ball. And Realmuto, not even looking at Rosenberg, just takes his glove, bends it backwards, puts it over his left shoulder, and is expecting Rosenberg to put the ball in his glove, and then he'll throw it to the mound. He waits a second. The ball's not in his glove. He assumes, okay, he's throwing the ball to the pitcher again. So Realmuto takes his glove, flips it back over, and pulls it away at the moment that Rosenberg is putting the ball in his glove. So it's just simple miscommunication by a split second. Rosenberg thinks Realmuto did it on purpose, is showing him up, and he ejects him from the game.
Ejects him.
Realmuto's not even facing him.
Didn't say anything?
No.
David's description is 100% accurate. He took his left hand, he put it over the top of his head, over his left shoulder, back by his head to catch the ball. 1001, 1002, the ball's not there. He moves his glove. Literally, as he is moving his glove, the umpire throws the ball down to nothing.
And so it hits the ground. And instead of it being a laughable moment, in which they could laugh, and say, hey, it's spring training for us too. No, Rosenberg thinks Realmuto's doing it on purpose, showing him up, and he ejects him. It's a spring training game. Realmuto, at first, you could see his face. He's like, did he just throw me out of the game? Because remember, Realmuto can't see him. He's looking out at the pitcher's mound. He stands up in a state of shock, like, what just happened? Thompson, the manager of the Phillies, comes out and goes, did I just see you throw him out of the game? Here's my thing. And Andrew McCutchen took to Twitter in which he said, hey, shouldn't there be a mechanism where the other umpires can come in and go, hey, that's that little overreaction there, little misunderstanding. It's not what you thought it was. He's wondering, is there a way that we can undo ejections? Because That's ridiculous.
My simple answer, Andrew, and I appreciate the tweet and your sentiment towards this, but there won't be, because the umpires union's as strong as any union in baseball, and God forbid that these umpires have to have some sort of level-headedness out there and umpire the game as an adult instead of a child like he was yesterday, because he acted like a child.
Well, and quite frankly, if I'm Major League Baseball, I don't know if I can let this guy continue. If you're going to do that in March, I mean, I'm sorry. You know what? I think we made a mistake giving you this job. You don't have the temperament for it.
Miller and Moulton. The starting five is on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think that umpire needs the Fred VanVleet treatment from JT Real Muto. Kings had a shot to clinch the playoffs last night. Would have been my play of the day, but they lost.
What's it been like 19 years, something? Crazy?
16 years.
16?
It's one of the longest playoff droughts in sports.
Yeah, I think the Mariners is the longest.
Well, no, the Mariners made the playoffs last year.
That's right. That's right.
And they were destroyed.
Um,
Well, no, they had that one close game. The high-scoring one.
Yeah, they got swept by the Astros.
Yeah.
But didn't they win the series didn't they sweep Toronto 2-0 to get to Houston?
Yeah.
So Sacramento's the longest drought in major professional sports then, right?
I think it might be. It's definitely one of.
Because I think the longest playoff drought in the NFL is the Jets.
Yeah, they got. Yeah.
Sacramento's 1, Jets are 2, Sabres 3.
Oh.
The Phillies were 4.
So it makes Tigers and Angels, I guess, tied for 4th.
Correct.
In the Mariners' 3 games against the Astros, they lost 1-0, 4-2, and 7-8. God, that stinks.
The home game was the 1-0 game. They played like 16, 18 innings, didn't even score. It was their only home game because the 2 games they won in Toronto, and then they lost 2 in Houston. So they got 1 home game. It lasted 6 hours. They didn't score.
And then they gave up 3 runs in the 9th inning in Game 3, and then their season was over.
That wasn't the 9th. That was like
When
the
did the
18th.
Reds last make the playoffs?
I think 2015.
10 seconds.
Oh, no. Remember, it was like 2-3 years ago.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, David Samson to join us coming up at the top of the hour. He's got a new thing going on. I mean, he's still doing pretty much what he always did. He's just doing it somewhere else. We'll let him explain coming up in a little more than 20 minutes' time. Jim Larranaga, 2 hours from now. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
NFL owners meetings underway in Phoenix. And somebody who's not there making the most news. Lamar Jackson sent out a tweet yesterday morning. Listen, I just want to clarify things. I requested a trade back on March 2nd. Wait, what? Ravens were caught off guard. John Harbaugh was just beginning his media session with the reporters. They all read their Twitter and said, "Coach, what can you tell us about this?" It's like, I haven't seen the tweet. Yeah, but we have. The Colts said, well, we're going to have to think about it. I mean, we're picking 4th. And probably the best we could do is the 3rd best quarterback in the draft. And, well, some people think it's only a 2 quarterback draft. So that's not ideal. We got rid of Matt Ryan. So, I mean, we need a quarterback. The Jets came out publicly and said, yeah, we're not even going to pretend. I give Joe Douglas credit. He said, I'm not even going to go through the charade of pretending that we're interested in that, we're going to move in a different direction. He goes, I'm not going to do that. We're interested in Aaron Rodgers. And we're not in a hurry, and we have no problem waiting this out. So, do you sense, Mark, the Packers and the Jets are in a Fran McCaffrey, that official stare down here?
They're definitely in a stare down. And I'm not sure, we've argued over who has the most leverage. We've argued over who will blink first in this. But the one thing that both GMs have said is they're not in a hurry.
I actually believe the Jets between now and the draft have more leverage. Because Green Bay clearly would like some picks in this year's draft. So if you're the Jets, I think you've got a month where you can hold firm. Then as soon as the draft comes and goes, the Packers are like, well, we can wait till September. And we could ruin your season waiting this out. Just, So I don't know how you see it. That's how I see it. I think the Jets in the next month, they got the Packers more where they want them. If the Packers can make it through the draft and not bite, well, then they could just put their phone on silent, not even answer it.
Well, Douglas made the comments that they're not interested in Lamar, but the Packers made the comments that they don't necessarily need a 1. To me, that was far more interesting to this development than I'm not going to pursue Lamar. Oh, so you're going to do this without a 1. Okay. Then why is this deal not done yet?
Well, because like Andrew Brandt, who knows the Packers really well, he worked for him for 10 years. Andrew Brandt thinks the Packers are asking for compensation in 3 drafts. He thinks they're looking for second and third round picks in this year's draft, next year's draft, and a little something in 2025. Basically, if Rodgers plays a second year with the Jets, the Packers get a 2025 pick as well. He thinks that's what they're asking for. So, would you put it this way? The Jets have 2 second-round picks this year. I think 41 and 42. If you're the Packers, would you take a 2 this year, and a 3 in 24, and then a contingent draft pick depending on if he plays in 25? Is that enough?
No.
Okay.
I want both of those 2s. I can live without a 1, but I want 41 and 42. Now.
Well, but then you ain't getting anything else. I'll tell you that right now. If you're insistent on that, I ain't giving you anything else. No 24 picks, no nothing, no contingent on if we do well. Nope. So if you want it, that's fine. I'll give it to you, and that's all you get. Would you do it?
My silence was me hanging up the phone. I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Okay, fine. And by the way, just so you know, both picks are gone in a month. Click.
Would we hang up on each other a lot if we were doing deals?
We damn right we would. But when we called the other, we'd be ready to do a deal in 17 seconds. All right. I've been thinking about it. What do you say? Boom. And then we'd be right there.
I agree with that.
Never mind if we actually met and had a couple appetizers and some drinks. Hell, we might consummate 6 trades. I mean, there might be 7.
And then sue because the boneless wings we had, we thought actually they took the bones out of them.
Well, listen, if either one of us ordered boneless wings, we deserve to lose the trade.
Fair enough.
I thought the 49ers actually made the biggest news at the owners' meetings yesterday. The 49ers were asked about the quarterback situation, and they said, well, we're going to have an old-fashioned quarterback competition. Oh, okay. So who's number 1? Oh, that's Brock Purdy. Wait, I'm sorry. What? You mean not the guy you gave up 3 first-round picks for? They said Brock Purdy, quote, has earned the right to start, unquote. Wow. Did anybody see that as news? Did anybody expect that? I mean, remember, the one guy was the last pick of the draft. The other guy they gave up 3 first-round picks for. Brock Purdy's their number one. He's earned the right to start. Trey Lance, whatever. He's interesting, I guess. Huh. And then we got the Sam Darnold guy. I mean, you're wondering, are the Niners going to move on from Trey Lance at some point? Are they just going to get rid of him to somebody who viewed him as a prospect and is willing to? Because I got to be honest, like if you're Baltimore or if you're Indianapolis, like if Baltimore moves on from Lamar, does Trey Lance interest you? He's got 2 years still making, just a few $1,000,000. And you'd have all of this year to play him and decide whether or not to pick up his 5th-year option. Trey Lance interest anybody? Take a flyer on Trey Lance? No? There was talk going into the owners' meetings that apparently Daniel Snyder reportedly has already cleaned out his offices.
Right.
With the Commanders.
That was the story last week.
Right. So the thought was that maybe the Commander sale would go down this week. Now they're saying, it's probably not going to go down this week. Besides, we're having another owners meeting in May. We like to get together, probably the Breakers. Maybe we'll do it then. College basketball, Texas didn't take long, and they shouldn't have, to promote interim coach Rodney Terry. They gave him a 5-year deal, $3 million a year. I mean, they hardly care about this sport. I think that's a pretty good wage for a sport they kind of not really care about. I think they care more about baseball than they do men's basketball at Texas.
Ooh.
Their baseball lineage?
No, I know. No, I get it. I do think they like the hoop, though. That's really close.
They like it if they're good at it. And if they're not good at it, they gloss right over it. But good for Rodney Terry. He did a terrific job. Caleb Love entering the transfer portal. Probably going to be the biggest name that hits the portal. North Carolina point guard. Didn't have a good year this year. Had a pretty good year last year. May remember, hit some really big shots in their NCAA tournament run to the final. Women's hoops last night. South Carolina pulled away from Maryland. They trailed by 6 after the first quarter. And then pretty much handled the Terps from there. 86-75. The Gamecocks are 36-0. Thank you very much. South Carolina, the number 1 team, against the number 1 player in the sport, Caitlin Clark in Iowa. Friday night in a national semifinal. Get your popcorn ready. Seriously. It's worth it. Vodtech made their first ever women's Final Four. 84-74 over Ohio State. It'll be Vodtech and LSU in the other semifinal. CONCACAF, Team USA, they're actually playing pretty well in this whole Nations League thing they're doing. They got an interim coach. They're playing Reina again. They're playing all their young guys. All the guys that supposedly, Mark, are going to be the most talented team we've ever had and make us apparently, a legitimate team in the 2026 World Cup. Not a championship contender, but put it this way. How about a quarterfinal contender, right? Anything less than an appearance in the quarterfinals is probably going to be a disappointment for Team USA in 3 years.
That sounds accurate.
Anything beyond the quarterfinals obviously would be, a parade. USA beat El Salvador 1-0, and they clinched a spot in the Nations League Finals. NBA. Remember Luka picked up his 16th technical?
Not for long.
They rescinded it at lunchtime yesterday, so he played last night, scored 25. Dallas destroyed Indiana by 23. Mavs are still a half a game out of the play-in. Knicks beat Houston by 22. They have a 2.5 game lead over the Nets and Heat for the 5 seed. Remember the big showdown we were going to have? MVP, Embiid against Jokic in Denver.
And once again, not so much.
Yeah, load management, got a sore calf. So Embiid doesn't play. Jokic with his 29th triple-double. Nuggets win by 5. Give it up to the T-Wolves, by the way. They've beaten the Warriors and the Kings on the road in back-to-back games. And Minnesota's now the 6th seed because they got the tiebreaker over Golden State. Minnesota 119-115 in Sacramento. Heat are in action tonight in Toronto. Magic are in action tonight in Memphis. Bad loss for the Florida Panthers, Mark.
Oh,
Lost 5-2 in Ottawa. They're 3 points behind the Penguins for the final playoff spot, and the Penguins have a game in hand. The other wild card team's the Islanders, and they beat the Devils last night 5-1. So the Panthers are 6 points behind the Islanders. Edmonton,
the Islanders, with all the regulation wins, have seemingly every tiebreaker in their advantage if it comes down to a tie in points.
Minnesota's trying to win the division. They beat Seattle 5-1. They're a point ahead of the Avs, who beat Anaheim 5-1. Connor McDavid scored his 140th point last night. He has 60 goals and 80 assists. That's a nice round number. 60 and 80. He's got about 8 games left. He'll get to 150 unless they hold him out of a few. NIT is tonight. Can't you feel the excitement? North Texas, a 1.5-point favorite against Wisconsin. How many times has that been the case? And UAB is a 3-point favorite against Utah Valley. I'll tell you what, the NIT Final Four looks a lot like the NCAA Final Four. We got Utah Valley, North Texas, UAB, and Wisconsin.
Boy, I don't know how we could survive this tournament with just 68 teams. I mean, we need more, because if without these teams in it, we didn't have a very good tournament this year.
College baseball rankings are out. The in-state teams that are ranked: Florida's 3rd, FGCU's 16th, Miami's 23rd. College softball rankings are out. The Noles are 7th, the Gators are 10th. And at 9 minutes before the hour, gentlemen, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Did you hear Gary Player's interview yesterday?
I saw what he said. I did not hear the interview.
Gary Player came out and, he was asked about the whole LIV thing and the Masters. And he goes, the Masters is a great tournament, but, the Open's better. The U.S. Open's better. Hell, even the PGA's better. And they were like, wait, what? And he goes, well, yeah, they all have more history. Okay, Gary, sit down. Just
what got your
I was going to say
in a bunch?
I was going to come on. You and Jack Watson are the ceremonial starters. Don't screw it up before you die. Okay. I mean, just remember, the room. Remember the room.
That is, hey, it's his opinion. He's entitled to it. But
right,
TV ratings would disagree with you, Mr. Player.
Very, very much so. Very much so. I understand an international player saying the Open Championship is the best tournament. That I get. But putting the U.S. Open, he won 3 Masters.
Putting the PGA.
Right. Yeah, that was a...
Because the U.S. Open is the toughest test in golf. I can understand where a player could say, hey, the Masters is a great tournament, but the U.S. Open is the toughest test that there is in golf, and then the history of the Open Championship. I could see where they could put the Masters 3rd. When you start putting the PGA in front of the Masters, you're making a horrible, horrible mistake.
Player won 3 Masters, only 1 U.S. Open, too.
Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. Great show lined up for you right here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, FLGolfCarts.
David Sampson's next.
For a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Why do you not want us to get bent out of shape about that ejection? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you really don't need to. He's never going to be an umpire in a major league game. He's a fill-in AAA umpire.
Oh, I thought he got a gig like in the last year or two.
He's a call-up.
Gotcha.
There's all sorts of call-ups that happen during the course of a season because umpires get vacations.
Right.
So he's one of those AAA call-up umpires, and they just are unlikely to call him up this year.
That's good.
What did you think about I think it was McCutcheon, maybe it was somebody else who tweeted and said, hey, do we need to come up with a mechanism where the other umpires and the crew can kind of like walk in and go, hey, take it easy. A little overreaction there.
They're a union and they protect each other. They will never overrule and show up an umpire like that, ever.
I think they would have protected him, made him look better if they had done that.
No, because they get to say that, hey, he saw something was said, and it was enough for him, so it's enough for me. By the way, it's now live 5 days a week at 8 a.m.
Right.
Make it easier for you.
Right. That's what we're going to start with. Your new deal.
A new gig. Feels like the old gig, but better.
I'm going to say, I think it is. I mean, same producer, same background and everything, right?
You got it. Until we accept in a few months of going inside a studio again.
Ooh.
You
So
bring in the
that'll
glove?
change everything. No, that's it. I'm going with regular TV studio.
Oh, no.
I know, right?
That had to be the hardest part of the negotiation right there.
Without a doubt. It seriously was, actually. It seriously was.
You know, we did this when we were, before we got the syndicated thing, we first met you, and then COVID hit. We were both doing this out of our houses. Now that this has ended, I come into a studio every morning. David gets to do it from the house. But fortunately for me, my drive's literally a mile. So it's nothing.
Yeah.
Took a golf cart one day to work.
I have to start commuting soon.
Oof. How long?
I'm on the Upper East Side and the studio's down in Tribeca, so it's 35 minutes.
Yeah. And the traffic starts pretty early.
Well, I'm going to be early, so it's an 8 a.m. show, so I'll get to the studio at 6:30. So it should be okay, but...
Well, you sleep 2 to 4 anyway. So
yeah, but I'd rather not have to put pants on. I have to try on all my pants now.
45 seconds.
So I'm in local TV sports and I'm doing my first ever show, and I've got jeans with holes in them. And my mom surprised me. She showed up for my first sportscast and she didn't realize that I dressed so badly. And I said, Mom, they only see you from the belly button up.
That's exactly right.
She was horrified.
Yeah, I've been doing these shows in shorts for a lot of years.
I think you should continue. Bring the glove and the shorts. That's who you are. That's your thing.
It's my thing.
15 seconds. All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's a Tuesday, the final one of March. And since it's 7 a.m., that means it's time for David Samson. He, 5 days a week, 8 a.m. live. It's the Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast. It has a new home. Look at you, Wheeler and Dealer. Congratulations. Tell everybody where you are.
I have a very good agent. I finally, after 20 years, have joined the Lebitard show and his company called Meadowlark Media. So I'm working with John Skipper, who used to be the president of ESPN and is now the CEO of Meadowlark. And we're going to be doing a business podcast called The Sporting Class. Get it? The Sporting Class, because we're going to not just teach, but it may be humor as well. And then Nothing Personal, 5 days a week. I love it. I get to work with Dan, work with Pablo Torre, who just came over from ESPN. And so we are going to make some good, funny, smart, ridiculous content. And I arranged it. The worst part of the negotiation is that I had to make sure that I was free Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m.
So that was it. That was the last part of the negotiation. We figured it was your glove that you use as a chair.
I'm going to be in an actual TV studio starting in a couple of months. Meadowlark is going to open studios in New York the way they're opening new studios in Miami. And so that was a tough moment for me when I realized I'd have to try on pants again, because I have not worn pants. And don't take that the wrong way. I wear shorts. I still wear Marlins clubhouse shorts just about every single day. And now I'm going to have to go out and commute like the rest of the world. I guess COVID's over. But the 7 a.m. spot was very important. And believe me, it came up, including my agent at UTA saying, is that segment really that important to you that you're bringing it up in this negotiation? And I said, hell yes, it is.
I feel honored, to say the very least. I'm curious. People love a little bit behind the scenes. How long, if you're willing to share, how long did this take? How long have you been working on it? Because people love to get a little of the nuance.
Yeah, it took over a year. It was a pretty complicated negotiation. And the thing with podcasts is I own Nothing Personal. I own the RSS feed. So now when you listen to Nothing Personal or watch Nothing Personal on YouTube, you're not going to realize a difference because I kept the feed, which means you keep your subscribers, which means when you switch platforms, CBS didn't have it, I had it. So when I was talking to other platforms, the other platforms wanted to buy the show, and I was unwilling to sell it. So it took a while with Meadowlark, but the deal is with them, I still own the show. As the way it will grow over the next 2 years, which it will continue to grow, I still own it. So they better not make too much fun of me, or I'm going to take my toys and get the hell out of there.
So 8 a.m. weekdays, live, Nothing Personal with David Samson, and just a new place to find it. You will see him at the old stomping grounds talking baseball from time to time, but the podcast is now with Meadowlark. Well, listen, the goal is to make as much money as the World Baseball Classic. Apparently, they say they made $100 million in revenue from the World Baseball Classic. I don't know, David. That seems like some serious coin. Like maybe, just maybe, we could talk about even doing more things with this. That if I'm an owner, 9 figures, you've got my attention.
Well, but did they tell you what the expenses were? So that's a funny way of describing something, right? If you make $100 million in revenue, but have $120 million in expenses, all of a sudden it's not so cool. So I think that the revenue is going up, but so are the expenses in terms of what it takes to put on the World Baseball Classic, the amount of money they had to spend in expenses for the players, for the insurance on all the players, what money they gave to the different federations to make them participate. So the net gain to the owners is not $100 million. But on top of that, when you let's just pretend there were zero expenses, that's about $3 million or $3.5 million per club. So if I called up Steve Cohen and said, I'll make you a deal, I'll write you a check for $3.5 million, and in return, Edwin Diaz is out for the year. How would that conversation go? It'd be damn quick.
Well, you had to go right there, didn't you?
Well, it is a business, right? And we have to look at it that way. There are certain things that we don't talk about, which are measured by inside baseball, because it's the sort of globalization of baseball. How many other countries are now more interested today than they were yesterday? How much more money can MLB get in broadcast revenue in other countries? How many more promoters can there be in other countries to pay MLB to get its teams to play in those countries? Those are the ripple effects of the WBC that are very, very important and can actually give you way more money than what the WBC does.
But because worldwide, this thing went off really well. I mean, from the TV ratings in Japan, and it seems to me that there wouldn't be a big need then to change the date. As much as we would like to change the date of this, the things you're talking about don't really have anything to do with the date.
No, as long as you keep 23 owners in line, you don't need to worry about the date, but it's getting tougher to keep the owners in line on any issue. But Rob Manfred said it really well. It's not perfect to have it in March. There's no question. But the issues with July is you can't shut the game down for 2 weeks. You can't do the early rounds in the beginning in March and then do the semis and finals in July. Teams will not loan their players for that. And you can't play the whole thing in November because when the season's done, players scatter and they don't come back. And if they haven't played since the end of September, they're not going to take a month off while other teams are in the playoffs and then start up again. So this really is the best time. It's the best of the worst. So that is why it was chosen, and that's why it'll stay that way.
Did you see the incident in the Phillies-Jays spring training game yesterday? The home plate umpire, Randy Rosenberg. I thought he was a young umpire. You corrected us during the break. You said he's a call-up. He's a fill-in for vacations. To me, the most interesting thing is we have replay. Okay, can we get to a point where maybe the crew chief in a crew could walk in and say to another umpire, I think we might have exaggerated something here. Can we take back the ejection?
Well, we have replay where umpires, when they have the wrong call, when it's just a human mistake, you can go to replay and then that's
right.
Getting the call overturned. And umpires do not love when their calls get overturned. They actually feel embarrassed and they get graded on it. When it comes to ejections, umpires are going to back each other every single time because you don't really know what was said by JT. I happen to know JT very well. There is no way that he would have said something. That's JT. He puts if you look at him as a catcher, I've watched him forever since the beginning. Converted shortstop, by the way. He puts his glove back because he doesn't want to move his neck because it's a pain in the neck to move your neck. And then if he doesn't feel the ball, the assumption is that the umpire has thrown the ball to the pitcher. So you start moving your glove back to front. That's all that happened. And then once JT moved his glove, then the umpire dropped the ball where the glove was and the ball dropped to the ground. That's pretty much it. But is it possible JT said something? We'll never know. But the other umpires would not show up the home plate umpire by overruling an ejection. And what's replay going to do? Unless it's got video and audio.
No. I just mentioned that we have replay to correct mistakes. I'm wondering, could we ever insert something where the fellow umpires could come in and go, Randy, I think you just had a bad moment. You need a Snickers and a nap.
Yeah, they don't do that on ejections and they won't. But what's the reality? This umpire, people don't realize that umpires, in addition to getting the off season off, they have a very good union. They actually get vacations during the course of a season. So you put an umpiring crew together, every series almost, one of the umpires is on vacation. So they have what are called fill-ins, call-ups, where AAA umpires are in the mix to be called up to be MLB umpires for the games where they are needed. So let's say you get 30 or 40 games as a fill-in umpire. And that's what Rosenberg's been since 2020. There's been a lot of turnover. A lot of umpires have resigned, retired, the Joe Wests of the world. So I think he is new, but I also know that I think this will cost him any right or ability to be a call-up in AAA. from AAA to MLB this year, I think that'll be his punishment.
Opening day is just a couple of days away. How did you handle this when you were the president of the Marlins? How much nervousness? What were the days leading up to opening day like for you?
I tried to get the operational side out of the way so I could focus on the baseball side, because if you're opening at home, there's a lot of operational issues. You want to make sure the bunting is ready. You want to make sure the stenciling on the field is done. You're looking to make sure the tickets are taken care of, the comp tickets, the pregame entertainment. You're looking at the timeline of the introductions. You're making sure the food is ready. You're just sort of doing all of that. Then you work on the baseball side as you're finalizing your roster for opening day, because you have to set the roster basically the day before. And you're really hoping for a good season because you're in first place, and you put on a suit and tie for opening day. And I used to go around and say hello to every one of my employees on opening day. Every one of them. I'd walk around the offices and just say, hey, happy opening day, like a holiday. And I used to hate losing opening days. And we lost more than we won for whatever particular reason, because it should be 500 in theory. And I remember thinking, when you lose opening day, we're never going to win a game. We could lose 162 games, and we built all of this up for this game, and then poof, it's gone. Conversely, when you win opening day, the dinner after is so good because you feel like you're going to win another World Series ring. So opening day to me is an incredibly special day. That and the first combined workout of spring training, not pitchers and catchers, but the first full squad workout and opening day are my two favorite days on the calendar.
Did you ever think you had a bad team? Like, we had Gary Danielson on the show for a long time, and he played on some bad teams. And he said, I never went into a game thinking we couldn't win. We could be playing the 85 Bears. We thought we could win. Did you ever think, man, we're not going to be very good this year?
This is going to sound crazy, but in 18 years, there was never a game, even with Greg Maddux pitching or Randy Johnson or Pedro Martinez, any of the aces, there was never a game where I thought that we couldn't win that day. And my view is, if you can't win that day, then you can win the next day. We see the prognosticators. We see the simulations. We know in our payroll, and we've done a fire sale, and we have a payroll of 20 million or 40 million, but we think we can be the exception, not the rule. And we hold on to that until we're mathematically eliminated. I must tell you, that is a true statement. I feel like I'm in the race every year until the math says we're not, because I'm a math guy.
He's David Samson. Nothing Personal with David Samson is live 8 a.m. 5 days a week. It's got a new home, but you can find it in the same places. All right. You can follow him on Twitter, David, the letter P Samson, David P Samson. Hey, congratulations on the new deal. Thanks for not kicking us to the curb.
Never. I'll see you next Tuesday, 7 a.m. sharp.
With pants. He's David Samson.
Now, one more week without pants. He's got a couple of weeks before he's got to get to the studio.
I actually have a few months still without pants.
All right.
God.
Find a tailor.
David
the
Samson.
Waist expander.
There you go. Kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton. Jim Larranaga in an hour and a half. Where else but the Florida Sports Network?
Taking your text as always, 21,000 is the number. Any of your comments, and we'll reflect on what David said next right here. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Look at that. Miller and Moulton entering the negotiations between David Samson and Meadowlark Media. Well, I got to talk to these two yahoos every Tuesday. What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't know. I like them.
Oh, they actually brought us up? I'm sorry.
Do you listen to the show? I mean, you are the producer, so one of your jobs is to listen to
I
the
know,
show.
but I was cutting something. I'm sorry. Actually, the play of the day.
Which I have to admit, I have no idea what it's going to be.
Yeah,
Don't tell me.
I won't.
I want to be entertained. But when I was figuring out everything that happened yesterday, I'm like, I don't know. This could be hard. Thinking maybe Nations League US El Salvador. I did know, kind of like a bogus ESPN top 10 list in which they jam it with soccer. It's like, what are you doing?
Dang. Mike Lupica's dad died at 99 yesterday.
Yeah.
Not all bad. Is that your computer, David?
I've got nothing.
No, I'm hearing notifications.
No, I know that. But I mean, like, the only thing up on my computer is this.
Yeah, but your notifications are on. You got to.
All right. Well.
Get with Melissa and figure out how to turn the sound on your notifications off.
But, like, I'm not seeing any notifications, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So, it's not like something's popping up and I go, oh.
I understand. You could be getting emails. I don't know what. I don't know what's on your computer. I don't know. Something's going on.
I know. Huh. Okay, so that's coming from me, huh? All right.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to hear. Believe it or not, it's weird, but the computer. I can't play computer sound for you to hear. You're only hearing it through the. You only hear me through the microphone, if you know what I mean. To your point yesterday, Gottlieb tweeted yesterday, UConn has more titles since 99 than UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, and Indiana combined, yet they aren't a blue blood.
What?
10 seconds.
Gottlieb just says that UConn has more titles in 99 than UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, and Indiana combined, yet they're not a blue blood.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Jim Crutchfield will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Might want to remember that name. You win a national championship, D2. You get a head coaching job probably in the next couple of years if you want it. He led Nova Southeastern, the Sharks, to a 36-0 season. They won their first ever national championship over the weekend. They began the season with a scrimmage against FAU. Apparently, it was a good game. We'll talk to Coach Crutchfield coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Because Florida, Mark, is the college basketball home of the world.
The
world.
Mecca of college hoop.
In the world. It's the state of Florida. That's right. That's how we roll.
It's really just a small area in Florida.
Correct. It goes about 50 miles between the Canes, Nova Southeastern, and FAU.
Who knew?
Jim Larranaga in a little more than an hour here on Miller and Moulton.
Want to go to the Rays home opener on us? Very simple. Text Rays to 21,000. Rays to 21,000. That's all you have to do. We're going to be on the road Thursday doing our show
in a van down by the river.
Bingo.
We're going to be
I really wish I encourage anybody who listens to this show. We have kind of thrown out the Twitch thing for a while. But between Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, we air the show every day as well. And you can see us. And let's be honest, there's not much need for you to see us.
Yeah.
We thank those that do. The commercial breaks on Twitch. You get to ask us questions. We answer them. We have a running conversation with those that are chatting in the Twitch chat room. But Thursday, you need to check out this show.
Are we going to have any lights? Because like the first hour and a half of the show is going to be in the dark.
I don't know.
I mean, I'll bring my phone. It's not like we need a script. So
I've got the old studio lights we used when we were doing the show at my place. I could bring one of those.
Do you want me to bring one of the lights that I use to illuminate my room here?
No, let's just make this one guy packing a lot of stuff instead of both of us packing a lot of stuff.
Okay. By the way, you divulged yesterday that apparently this is an incredibly stressful thing for you. I did not realize. I knew you weren't crazy about heights, but I have to admit, I thought you kind of sort of got over that a little bit because your house, beautiful, by the way, the front part of like your foyer is pretty high, and you guys have a big tree. I mean, you went all out. I mean, you guys do Christmas, and I know you do the tree and you decorate near the top of it. I know you've also been outside. You had the owls and the woodpeckers that were attacking the place
I don't
early
do
on.
anything to stop them. I had to bring Philly over to hang the wreath.
I just thought that between the tree and the woodpeckers that you would kind of sort of, not that you're crazy about heights, but that you're not, in a fetal position about heights.
I'm about to be in one now if this conversation continues. My hands are starting to sweat. I've got a little bit of the Mazzoni going right now. I'm starting to bob on air, looking for where Bobby Cox is, and he's not helping.
About ready to make a pitching change?
I'm thinking about it, and I'm taking myself out.
I thought you were going to take me out. But I didn't realize, because we've gone to things in Tampa together. And we've gone to some Rays games together. I did not remember going over the Skyway Bridge as a traumatic experience for you. And yesterday you basically said, okay, I don't know if I can make it to the remote because I really don't want to do the bridge.
Had to bring this up on air, huh?
Yeah. And I said, well, go the long way. Go past it, make a left, backtrack, the whole deal. I didn't realize it. Just come on, you middle lane. You just concentrate on the car in front of you.
There's not a middle lane. There's 2 lanes on each side. So you got to take the passing lane, and then my hands will sweat. I've driven over that bridge several times. I hate it every single time.
Wow.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to go to St. Pete. Like, you're freaking me out right now. I don't know if you understand. I'm about to go into a full-blown panic attack right at the moment.
Well, I'm sorry.
But thank you.
It's a gorgeous view.
Thanks a lot. I'm certain if you were driving over it, I'd be more than happy to take in the view. It's me driving.
Okay. Because I was thinking, I'm like, wait, we've gone to games together. So was it I was driving, and so therefore you were fine?
Fine.
Okay. That's interesting. So you're fine as a passenger.
Correct.
Like, you look around, you observe, you're good with it. But driving it, I find that interesting.
Thank you for finding it interesting. I find it petrifying. And again, I want to point out that my palms are sweating.
Oh, jeez.
I'm shaking right now. I want to give the visual of what people listening are going through, what I'm going through right now by David bringing this up on air. And I have to, for work, or I lose my job, have to drive over a bridge. It's going to make me freak out.
Well, now we would know one thing. If it was a situation where it was me, Miller, or Moulton being vehicles at high altitudes. So
I've actually flown a plane before, believe it or not.
You what?
When I worked for the minor league hockey team here in the Fort Myers area. Business. I was the vice president of sales and marketing, and people wanted to be our agency. And I can't remember the guy's name. I don't want to say it because if I butcher his name, I feel badly. But he wanted to be our ad agency, and he's asked me if I ever been up in a small plane before. I said, no. Would you like to? I said, I'd love to. So we left from Page Field. He took me on a 2-seat plane. We flew a little flight over the beach, and he said, you want to take the controls? I said, absolutely, I'd like to take the controls.
All right. If you can fly a plane, you can drive over that
I'm
bridge.
aware I can drive over a bridge. It scares the crap out of me. I'm glad that you have no phobias and fears in your life. I am petrified of heights. Flying in a plane's never bothered me. It's enclosed.
Time now for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Yeah, let's get to that.
Oh, it was a slow night in the sports world last night, and the Mavericks are 3-7 in their last 10. So they really needed a win last night, and boy, did they finally get one. Oh my gosh. And Luka Doncic had probably the assist of the year, and here's the audio.
Wood with the pass. Luka able to chase it down. They got him trapped on the sideline. They fouled in a situation like that before. How on earth did he find Hardy? He found him, and more importantly, Hardy hit the shot after they did find him.
That's amazing.
Double teamed in the corner, fires a laser to the corner for 3. Mavericks win, a must-needed win.
Luka Doncic with our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Mavs are a half a game out of the play-in. Everybody will blame Kyrie. He's going to the Lakers anyway.
And then Luka will demand a trade to get out of Dallas.
Yeah, he really will. I mean, so much for the Mavs, who last year were in the conference finals. And now they're a train wreck. Welcome to life, putting an NBA franchise together. That Michigan State guy paid $4 billion for the Phoenix Suns, and literally Kevin Durant could wake up tomorrow and say, "Nah, I don't like this."
It's not that he could. It's almost when will he? No, I mean, come on. He's gotten himself out of every team he's played for. There's no reason to believe he won't do it again there. And he'll figure out a way to blame Charles Barkley for it.
And Barkley will blame him for it.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I realized that I said frickin' there, and I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, because it's not what it sounded like it.
Yeah, I know.
How do you go around it? You got to go all the way to Tampa, don't you?
Probably close. But
just
you
stay
could probably get off at like 240 and shoot over. I mean, it would be awkward, but
just drive over the damn bridge and die.
Okay.
Same time.
Same time,
same show.
Yep. Just the first, just about 40% of it in the dark. Well, Mongo, I'm wondering, would you have to go all the way to the Selman Expressway? That's downtown Tampa. We're talking about getting to St. Pete. That if you didn't get off at 228 and go over the Skyway there, is there a way to like go to 240 and shoot over and that sort of deal? Yeah, Hops, there's not going to be an Act 4. That I can promise you. Not unless there's like a Meadowlark Media that's going to come in and save the day for us, a la David Samson.
Oh, don't count on that. I can persuade David into doing an Act 4.
I will say, if he waits till about 5:58 a.m. every day, he can win me over. It's the hour leading up to it that do not negotiate with me during the hour leading up to it. I hate everything about it. But once the show's about to start, I'm all in. Where's he going to go? That's a good one.
Well played. Speaking of which, did you see who the third highest paid Cincinnati Reds player is this year?
Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yes.
I saw that.
So everybody makes a big deal about the Bonilla contract.
Did you see the stat that Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and Spencer Dinwiddie have now played more minutes together in the Nets than Kyrie, KD, and Harden?
That's hysterical.
They were acquired at the deadline. What a mess.
You know what's funny, though? The Nets are not bad. The Nets are a player away.
Oh, yeah. Mikal Bridges is really, really good. He's averaging 26 a game.
I have to admit, there's so much scoring in the
That's-
NBA right now that I think everybody's numbers are a little inflated. I mean, when you have to score 120 to win a regulation game.
Yeah, scoring's at an all-time high this season. I mean, the Sacramento Kings have one of the best offenses in NBA history. This year. Averaging like 119 points per game or something like that. No, 121 points per game.
Call Coach Crutchfield. Please. So DTW, you have to go that far?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Jim Larranaga to join us 1 hour from now. Jim Larranaga 1 hour from now. Hoping to catch up with Jim Crutchfield, who led Nova Southeastern to the national championship. They went 36-0. Capped it off over the weekend. Hoping to catch up with the coach here coming up momentarily. But a little down, just chilling. Final fours are set for the men and women. Baseball season gets underway on Thursday. Kind of a day or two to catch our breath here. Get ready for, the Masters is 9 days away. There's a big pot of gold that's right there. We can see it. But we're going to have to just chill for a couple days.
Did get an email with I was in a Masters pool last year and got it sent to me. Got me a little excited just starting to look at the only thing I was upset about because it's, set up where you pick one out of each group. He just had 2 live groups. I was kind of hoping you'd have to make a choice out of live guys or tour guys, but I was just fired up seeing a Masters pool. Just kind of gave me the fever.
Well, there's no doubt that the LIV guys need to step up. They have the big guns on that tour have not stepped up on the 2 events on their tour. And, the PGA Tour has had a very good start to the season, and they got Rahm and Scheffler and Rory playing well and contending and winning events. So, they need to garner some attention. I mean, when we last saw the best players on that tour, DJ contended at the Open Championship. Cam Smith won it and then went to the LIV. Might very well have been player of the year. I mean, he won the Players and he won the Open. I mean, if he hadn't announced he was going to the LIV, that's actually a pretty fascinating player of the year vote on the PGA Tour last year. Between Scheffler, who did all his damage in February, March, and April, and Cam Smith, who finished third in the Masters, but won the Players and then wins the Open Championship, chasing down Rory to do it. With what, a 64 on Sunday at St. Andrews? I mean, if the LIV thing wasn't out there, that actually would have been a fascinating player of the year. Everybody's getting all, the NBA, who should be MVP. The player of the year vote on the PGA Tour last year would have actually been a toss-up.
By the way, does Embiid hurt any chances at all by not playing last night?
Yeah. I don't see how. I mean, once again.
I know you and I aren't into that award, but
not at all.
It's a head-to-head matchup. Everybody's anticipated it, and Embiid sits out. He's hurt. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm not going to argue with players. It's load management. It's part of what the NBA is now.
Yeah.
But doesn't he have to? Doesn't that huge minus points?
Yeah, sure. Plus, not only that, the Sixers are fading a little bit down the stretch. The Sixers had caught the Celtics in the loss column for the 2 seed. And now the Sixers are losing some games. I mean, Mark, they oftentimes hand out awards to the best players on what? The best teams. Well, if you're the third best team in the East, can you really be the league MVP? I mean, not sure that you can. You could be the best player in the league, but could you be the MVP? We shall see. Jim Crutchfield is kind enough to join us. He just led the Sharks of Nova Southeastern to an undefeated season and the Division II National Championship. And he joins us now here on Miller and Moulton. Coach, it's David and Mark. Congratulations. Thanks so much for your time. How are you?
Pretty happy today. Kind of crazy down here in Davie, Florida. We're trying to figure out what we do after you win a championship. Talking parades. They're talking. I'm not really sure what to do either, but everybody's walking around smiling down here anyway.
Well, obviously, congratulations. This is a hell of a run. How difficult was it not just to win the whole thing, but to maintain the level that you did all year, to go undefeated all year, to not have one slip up? When you look back and reflect, just how impressed are you with what these young men did?
I love what they did, because in today's world in basketball, nobody goes undefeated. And, I was asked that question back early in the season because we went undefeated last year in the regular season. And this is a very tough conference in Division II basketball, one of the top conferences in the country. And I told them then, we're not going to go undefeated because no one actually goes undefeated. Just ask the other 1,000 NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3 schools in the country. It just doesn't happen. So these guys were able to come out every single game and not drop their guard. And that's what happens. It's hard to come out with that level of intensity that makes you win every single game, but they did. And I'm proud of them for that.
You mentioned you guys had an undefeated regular season last year and you got to the Elite Eight before you lost. You went 31-1. Dusty May has been talking you guys up here in the last few days, and he divulged that you guys actually scrimmaged against each other. And he said, don't laugh, guys. When we scrimmaged them and beat them, that's when I knew we were going to be as good as I think we could be. That's a pretty good compliment to you, your staff, and your team, isn't it, Coach?
And I think Dusty May is, obviously people are recognizing him now as, one of the best coaches in the country. What he's done at FAU is just amazing. And obviously he's the hottest ticket right now in the country when it comes to coaching. But we did have a closed game scrimmage with FAU, and not only did they beat us, but it went to the wire. We were to foul line with a few seconds to go, down a couple points, and it was a very close game. And R.J. Sunahar, our All-American, he didn't play that day. So even when they were running to the tournament, I'm telling our guys, we played this team to the wire on their court, and they're looking to get into the Final Four, and then they did. So it was a day that he recognized his team was good because we have a good basketball program here, and they beat us. But it was also a day that I recognized the same thing in my team, that, wow, FAU is really good. They're incredibly well coached, and we took them right to the wire here on their home court. I think in the game was a really good game. The kind of when coaches walk away saying, we're pretty good. So I think Dusty and I both realized that day that we have pretty good basketball programs.
You coached in the national championship game against the team that you used to coach for, against a coach that played for you. Just that experience in the final, I know you're locked into your team, but just the whole picture of playing against West Liberty had to be pretty special.
It was. I tried not to let it distract me from, and take my eye off the ball, because it was a big deal for me. Not only did I coach the basketball team there for 13 years, but I worked there for 28 years. I coached a tennis team there. I was a 10-year faculty member there. I know everybody. It's a small school. I knew everybody there, every faculty member, every fan that was in the bleachers. I knew almost every single one of them. And it was really almost surreal, the thought of actually getting to the national championship game and then to look across and see West Liberty. It was hard not to take your eye off the ball, but our players, they stayed focused on the game. I tried to. We had a player that had transferred from West Liberty that was in the game. So it was a not an awkward situation, but a very unusual one, and it made for probably even more an exciting matchup.
He's Jim Crutchfield. He is the national championship winning coach for Nova Southeastern, the best Division II team in the country. The Sharks went 36-0 this year, and he joins us here on Miller and Moulton. You guys averaged over 100 points a game. In this day and age, Coach, where, college coaches, we say this with affection, but it's true, might be the biggest control freaks left in society, are college coaches. And usually they want to control things as much as possible. You can't score 100 points a game and not give up a lot of control to the players. Has this always been your philosophy?
Yes, and you're spot on that. The key is the ability to let your players make decisions, and that requires a lot of coaching and preparation to get them to that point. And so you kind of turn them loose on game night. But ESPN did a nice article on me when I was at West Liberty in our program about that, because the numbers in college basketball were going down. The scoring was going down, and it was making for a less exciting game. And we had averaged 112 points a game that year. And it was about, the control you have over players, and every single time you get possession of the ball, you have to look over to coach. Everybody gets set up for a 5-on-5 game, and coaches had to call a set play every single time, or it was getting to the point, and you still see it, where the first 20 seconds of a shot clock are by almost like fake offense, nothing really good, nothing really attacking. Then all of a sudden someone calls for a high ball screen, and then it goes from there. And that's when it happens. And that's what college basketball is, but for the most part. But we have a different philosophy, and so does West Liberty, because they've maintained that philosophy about how to prepare, how to play, how to let players make decisions not just on offense but on defense. And it's at this point in time, it would be hard to argue it, because the two teams that have that different style, that different philosophy, were the two teams that met in the national championship game. They were averaging 100, we're averaging 101, and we're 1-2 in the country. And at two schools that had never won. It wasn't like they were winning before. When I took West Liberty, they were 3-23. Nova was 6-20, which neither had a history of winning. And, this style of basketball took both of those programs to a different level.
What was it about Nova that made you want to take the job? You had so much success at West Liberty to come take a program that had 6 wins. Why?
It was a personal thing for me. What happened at West Liberty, they hadn't, when I took the job there, and I was probably, at least on paper, the worst hire you would ever have. I was a tennis coach. I had no background. If I would have been a fan, I would have said the same thing everybody else did. It was, why in the hell would you hire? We're bad. We're just going to get worse now. And I was definitely, on paper, a very bad hire. My resume was pretty weak. And what happened there, for a school that had gone 50 years without a 21 season, the very first year we were picked last, we won 21 games, and it went up from there. And over 13 years, we were the winningest program in the country at any level. And I still couldn't believe it. I just thought, how much of that was luck? How much of that was just crazy being at the right place at the right time in every possible way? And I had to see if I could do it somewhere else, almost to prove to myself I can do this again. So it was kind of my wife says, you're the most indulgent man in the universe. I just indulged myself. So let me see if I can do this again. And I thought Nova was a good place to go. They had not had success here. Warm climate, near the beach, beautiful campus, nice arena. A lot of the trappings were there. I thought, let's see if this system, not just me, because it's not me, I've got the best assistant coaches. It's a philosophy that has to be pushed by myself. The players have to believe in it. And so let's see if this can work somewhere else. And it's working pretty well right now. So it wasn't so much about the exact Nova had something that West Liberty didn't. It was about, I had to go somewhere else. I'm not a young guy. Time's running out. I want to see, can I do this again? And I was just looking for the right place.
And you did it. 36-0, the Sharks of Nova Southeastern, the Division II men's national champions. Coach, congratulations. Listen, our advice, we're used to working for places that don't have big budgets. Grab the AD's credit card, okay? Whatever celebration you're going to have, grab the company credit card and then just slide it on his desk when you're done.
Right now. I love it.
Congratulations. Thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it. All the best.
Hey, thank you, guys. Take care now.
Jim Crutchfield. 31-0 before they lost in the Elite Eight last year. They got the job done this year, a full 36-0.
I love it. I love his answer as to why. I had to prove it to myself. Had to make sure what I did for a decade wasn't a fluke.
Right. Wife goes, wait, we're going where? Well, listen, the taxes are low. There's a beach. The weather's good. Huh. Okay. I guess. I love you. I guess we'll find out how much. All right, let's do this. Life's an adventure. Let's go. Jim Crutchfield, Nova Southeastern. Congratulations to them. Dusty May talking them up. Did so at Madison Square Garden. And then when he came back, he's doing a lot of national interviews now, and he's giving them a lot of credit. He said on our show yesterday, he goes, not a lot of difference between D1 and D2. Trust me. Good for him. Good for them. Jim Larranaga in 45 minutes here on Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation. 308-8686 or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. God, I want Brady to go all Leo and start dating like a 24-year-old.
He said that FAU had kind of stretched it out to double digits, and then Nova made a late run. He said they kind of were a little shaky down the stretch, and Nova made it close at the end.
You basically want Brady to go Kanye and Leo. Yeah, Leo does that. But more Kanye because had kids with Kim. Now is dating 20-year-olds.
I thought Kanye married a woman like 2 months ago.
They got married?
Huh.
I mean, I thought they were just a thing. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to it that much, but
Yeah, he got married to a woman named Bianca 2 months after his divorce.
yeah, Bianca Sensory.
So once again, I'm going to go back to my original statement, but you can take that statement down again if you want.
Well, he dated a few 20-year-olds before this Bianca Sensory character.
Leo's kind of the one known for dating young women.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of his thing. I mean,
Can't get past 25.
Don't mean to rain in your parade, but
I love the chart.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where it's a little disturbing with Leo, to be honest. He's too old now, you know. Because isn't he 50?
I'm pretty sure he just turned 50, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be going mid-30s at that point.
I mean, grow up.
Why?
He's 48, Leonardo DiCaprio. One minute.
33 is his floor. Cut it in half and add 9.
Floor or ceiling?
No, floor. Cut it in half and add 9. Can't. That's the rules.
So that's the rule?
Take your age in half and add 9.
Huh. I didn't realize that. It would be a nice dinner table conversation with my wife tonight. So when we leave each other, all right, how young can the guy be for you to date?
Here we go.
Because Mark has a formula.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the 8 o'clock hour of Miller and Moulton on this final Tuesday of March. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Jim Larranaga to join us in a little more than 35 minutes time. Miami getting ready for UConn. They've got no shot. It's done. It's over with. They're already engraving the trophy. Just a matter of who UConn's going to beat in the final. None of the other 3 teams have a shot, Mark. This sucker's over. Nice little tournament all the 67 other teams have been playing. But this UConn monster, man, winning by 22 points a game. Miami doesn't have a shot. FAU, San Diego State, nobody's got a shot. It's funny how in the national semifinals, there have been teams like that who then get beat. Just saying. Just saying. That's usually when the monster gets taken down.
Well, and, I thought it was interesting yesterday talking to Dusty May about the football stadium, and he went and talked to other coaches. Hey, what did you find? But the fact of the matter is that you can run into a bad game in a dome.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Used to playing in arenas, and all of a sudden now it looks completely different to the shooters. It's just a totally different, shooter's eye is what they call it. It's like having the batter's eye in baseball. Some parks just are comfortable to certain guys. Some parks are not. It's the same sometimes in basketball. Sometimes you put teams shooting well, playing well, the whole deal, and they put them in the football stadium, and it's just, I don't know. This seems weird. But we had an undefeated Kentucky team all the way to the national semifinals last decade. Wisconsin took them out. We, of course, had UNLV back in the day, undefeated, trying to repeat as national champions. The team that lost to them by 30 in the national championship game the year before took them out. Just saying. Just saying.
And this year where the unexpected has been normal.
Mm-hmm. Anybody watch Miami play in this tournament? They just shot 59% against Texas. You sure they can't beat UConn? I mean, Mark, I don't know about you, but 59% travels.
It does. Here's the other thing. Miami's already had their best players have their bad game. One of the things that is inevitable in this tournament is that in order to win, you have to usually you have to get through a C+ performance from some of your best scorers and still find a way to win a game. Miami did that against Drake. UConn hasn't had that moment yet.
No. I mean, they did trail by, I think it was 4 at the half against Iona in the first round. And then it literally came out, and within 3 minutes of the second half, the game was over. They scored on like their first 6 possessions. They basically said to Iona, you can't stop us.
You're not
realized, yeah, we realized this at halftime. We were just messing with you here. And they ended up blowing Iona out, and they haven't stopped. And they're just kicking people. Good for them. Great. It's awesome. But, you know, if all of a sudden Miami does to UConn what they did to Texas, you know, Texas has got them 10, 12, 13, and all of a sudden Miami makes a run. I mean, don't you think UConn's going to freak out a little bit? The team hasn't made a run on them in 3 weeks. Last time a team made a run on UConn was the Big East tournament. And so all of a sudden they're in a national semifinal, and, you know, this game's coming easy to them and the whole deal, and Miami starts acting like Miami. And besides, those guys are difficult to stop. They spread that floor out. They seemingly have 4 guys on the floor every single time who can take you off the dribble. I mean, I don't know about you, Mark. That seems tough to stop.
And particularly when they get the in-out game going, when they're driving, they're able to kick it, and they've got guys making threes. So they score.
That's why we liked them.
I mean, we just talked to Jim Crutchfield, the D2 national champ, talked about how his teams score. You know, throughout that interview, what I kept thinking about is, as we led up to the tournament, what did we talk about? Can you get to 80?
Yep.
Because if you can't get to the high 70s, 80 points, it's tough to win. And Miami is very good at scoring the basketball.
That's why we liked them. That's why we were talking them up in mid-February as a Final Four team. They've got experience. They're well coached. They've got a backcourt, and they score. So I think Miami's got a puncher's shot. I do. Hey, UConn's favorite. They've earned that. You know, good for them. What's it, like 5.5?
That's I didn't look this morning. It was 5.5 yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I wouldn't take that as a sign of disrespect. You know, I mean, UConn's beating everybody by 22 points on average. I mean, they absolutely humiliated Gonzaga in Arkansas. Yeah, okay. Give them their due. But I'm telling you, I'll be really surprised if we're midway through the second half and it's not a game. And at that moment, how does UConn handle it? Because they haven't been in one of those in a while. And now all of a sudden you're in one of those, and it's the national semifinal. And Miami's going, well, this is just another game for us. This is how this whole tournament's gone.
Well, and in the tournament, Miami's been great from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
Both these teams are terrific free throw shooting teams, but that's, to me, where it could be different. The fact that Miami's been in close games, they've had to go to the line, they've had to make shots.
I will say, though, UConn's playing for like a legacy. UConn's playing to be known as a blue blood. And maybe they should have been called the blue blood. But this would cement it. And if you feel as if you have to take other schools off the list, like you can't keep adding to the list, that UConn has to replace somebody.
I nominate Indiana.
Well, I knew you would. But this would be a 5th national championship for UConn. It'll be from a 3rd different coach in a 4th different decade.
They're a blue.
Yeah. I mean, 5 titles in 25 years. I mean, so basically, you bring in a group of guys, if they stay for 5 years, they're going to come home with a ring on average. Seems pretty good to me. I mean, think about it. Mike Krzyzewski won 5 national championships. 40 years at Duke, he won 5. UConn's trying to match that here in a quarter century.
And I don't know if you have to take one off, by the way. You can add to the list of blue bloods. I don't think you have to take one away to add one to it. I think a school can become a blue blood. Now, I don't think Indiana deserves to be on that list. We've talked about this many times on this show.
Well, it's been over 20 years since they've advanced beyond the Sweet 16. So
When's their last title?
Well, their last title's 87.
Right.
But their last Final Four was 01, right? 01 or 02. 02, I think, when they lost to Maryland. And they went to the Final Four in 92.
That's not a blue blood. It's a college basketball team.
But they have not been beyond the Sweet 16 since the 02 team with Mike Davis went to the title game. So it's 20 years of. You still consider UCLA a blue blood?
Yes.
Yeah. They've got one title since Wooden. Now, they've been
in the picture a lot more, though.
Yes. Dave. They've been to like 6 Final Fours, and they're, been to like 20 Sweet 16s. But, they cut down the nets with Jim Herrick in 95. I mean, that's it. If that's what's important, or if the other things cement you as a blue blood. Help me out here. Tubby won it in 98 with Kentucky. Kentucky's only won one title since, right? John's got the one title, right? Doesn't Kentucky just have one title in 25 years?
I believe that's right.
Now they've been to, 6 Final Fours, I think. And, obviously they've had many tournament runs, but
again, I'm not here to, I have fun picking on Indiana because it's easy. I don't need to take teams off the list.
Okay.
But to not include UConn as a blue blood,
right?
Then you have to look at what qualifies you as one. And apparently it means what you did last century. Well, right? That's the only fair. If your resume is what you did last century, then okay.
That's fair. That is. That Bobby Knight made him a blue blood. And post Bobby Knight, they've not been a blue blood. That's fair. I don't know how you argue it, to be honest. Unless you feel, once a blue blood, always a blue blood. Okay. What's the statute of limitations on being a blue blood?
Hell, I don't even know how many Big Ten titles they have. They've not been.
No.
Top of their conference, let alone nationally.
So that's what UConn's playing for. They're playing for legacy. And the other 3 are just playing to win their first ever title. No idea. All there for the first time. No idea when any of them are going to get back.
And for Florida Atlantic, they will probably never get back to a Final Four.
Probably.
That's why this is special. It's why, and again, I know the TV ratings are going to suck for this Final Four. I get it.
Yep. There's
no
doubt.
The lowest watched Final Four ever.
It'll be up there. It'll be up there. We had Butler in back-to-back Final Fours, but in one championship game they played Duke. The other one they played UConn, ironically. This will probably be the worst Final Four rating since the UConn-Butler title game.
That's if UConn can get to the final game. If not, well,
right.
We may have a new record. Miller and Moulton, Jim Larranaga coming up in 25 minutes. Talking some Canes basketball right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, would you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning, Logic Man. Ambien, there's no indication that Tiger's not playing the Masters. He is in the field. He would have to withdraw from it. Yeah, DC, I don't think it's like a wedding invite. I don't think that it's like, check the box, yes, no. I think when the Masters invites you to play in the tournament, the Masters, I think, assumes it's a yes. You have to pick up the phone and go, yeah, by the way, I can't make it. Mark, I'll try not to blame it on you tonight.
Oh, no, that's fine.
No, I'll just say that you made me aware of a formula. It's not your formula. It's you made me aware of.
It was actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was one of my wife's friends who was single.
And
she went young. Half and add 9.
Did the guy make the floor? Like, was
yeah,
he just above the floor.
She would occasionally go young, and good for her.
Nothing wrong with that. So half and add 9. So my floor would have to be 37, 38.
Correct. God, I can't wait for you to tell you.
I'm going to look at my wife and go, just so you know.
I can go to 38.
I can date someone 38 or older. You can date someone 35 and older.
10 seconds.
It's her birthday next week. Maybe that's what I'll put in the card. Hey, just so you know. Happy birthday.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Canes head coach Jim Larranaga in a little more than 15 minutes time here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We're giving away Rays opening day tickets to the Tigers. The game's Thursday afternoon at 3. We're giving them away tomorrow morning. How do you register to win? You send a text. It's that simple. Keyword Rays, R-A-Y-S. Send it to 21,000. Done. You're entered into the contest. Don't send the text if you can't go. I mean, you don't want us to call you at 9, 10 o'clock and go, hey, congratulations, you won. And then go, oh, man, I'm sorry, I can't go. I'm working. It's 3 o'clock Thursday, all right? You can work half a day, by the way, no matter where you are, Lake City, Port Charlotte, Naples. I mean, you work half a day, get in the car and go.
How many times did you ever take the day off for opening day? Did you ever skip out of school? Did you ever do opening day?
Oh, yeah. I took the day off from work for opening day a couple times. Yeah. St. Patrick's Day and opening day. I would rarely do them both in the same year because they're too close together. But, opening day was a big deal.
But did you go? I mean, when did you go to a Mets? Have you been to an opening day?
Yeah, I went to a few. Not at Citi Field, but I went at Shea. Yeah.
I've never been to an opening day.
It's cool. It's cool. The weather's usually not good. I was living in the Northeast at the time. My team's a Northeast team. So, the weather's not good.
Weather will be great Thursday.
Yeah. I did both the Marlins and the Rays.
Right.
I mean, it'll be clear and 72.
AC will be pumping out nice, cool Freon for everybody.
It sure will. And then we can talk about how many more opening days we're going to have in this place. Man, when are we going to move? That's for another day.
I went to an opening day at Marlins Park or Lone Depot Park where they had the roof open at the start of the game and then it started raining. And they had to close the roof in the middle of the game.
No.
It was a little embarrassing, but
miscalculation.
Quite the experience.
Mark and I
had the roof open.
Right. You only really get that at opening day. Not much else.
Mark and I love the difference between opening day and game 2. We love the attendance difference. I mean, Felipe, there's a chance. Well, no, see, the day 2's a Friday, and we won't get the attendance figures till Friday night, but there's a chance some point early next week, we'll do a short segment in which we'll go the difference between opening day and day 2, because I love it in places like Cleveland.
Where they're sold out on opening day.
Right. 37,000. And then it's 6,400 for the second game. And, of course, opening day is played in the afternoon. The weather's usually a little better. And then they decide to play the next night. And it's 38.
Well, and I mean, both the Marlins and Rays are opening at home. That's smart.
Marlins' first series is against the Mets, and then they play the Twins the following Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
But I mean, we've got the Yankees opening at home.
Right. In March.
Right. Against San Francisco, by the way.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
The Cubs opening at home.
Right. Once again, in March. I mean, what are we doing here? We've talked about this. It's real. Almost half of the stadiums are either in warm weather cities or domes. It's real simple. They get the first week. Don't know what to tell you. So the Bostons and the New York teams and the Chicago teams and what have you. Yeah, you open on the road. As a fan, you should want them to open on the road, especially if we're going to start the season on March, what is it, 30th?
Right.
I mean, come on. Could you at least push this thing back to April 6th or 7th? Come on.
Was it last year or 2 years ago? The first home run of the season was In the Snow by Miguel Cabrera.
Right.
But this is a Miller and Moulton pet peeve that will never be fixed.
Nope. We think we're right. We can't be told otherwise. We're inflexible about this, but baseball does what baseball does. I also think they've made a mistake in which, to me, like opening day used to be the Monday of the national championship game. And I didn't have a problem sharing the day, so to speak. I thought opening day was big enough. Most of the games were in the afternoon, that baseball kind of had its moment. But you could argue, Mark, maybe opening day should be Tuesday. Like this year, April 4th. April 4th should be opening day. April 4th and 5th, teams should open. And by the way, what starts on the 6th? The Masters. Final Four is done. Masters hasn't started yet. I got 48 hours, baby, where I get to own the sports world. Good.
So those are our baseball opening day rants. They've calmed over the years. But text RAISE to 21,000 if you want to go to an opening day. It's that simple. Text RAISE to 21,000 and you can be hooked up with a pair of tickets for the Rays home opener against the Tigers this Thursday.
Jim Larranaga in 12 minutes. A simple question. You think Lamar Jackson's a Raven this year?
No.
Wow. Look at that.
And I think there's one team out there that hasn't been mentioned, hasn't been talked about, that will enter this trade fray at some point. We may never hear who that is, but there's somebody else out there that's going to make a... Indianapolis has already said they're interested.
I think I have the team.
Talk to me.
The Commanders.
Makes a lot of sense. If Snyder really wants to stick it to the rest of the league on his way out.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Really? How could you not?
Well, because I figured that they would do this after Snyder sells the team. That if Snyder sells it in like May, it'd be the new owner that would come in. But that's a great parting gift here. I just thought because they need one. I mean, if you're Washington, I mean, you're really going to go Sam Howell here? Seriously? I mean, come on now. Your team's not bad, by the way. You went 8-1 with the quarterback play that you had between Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz. I mean, you're not bad. Offensive line's decent. Defensive line's good. You got a number one wide receiver. You got a number one tailback. I mean, I'm just wondering if you're Washington. I mean, are you and think about it, if you bring Lamar into the NFC, do we need to go through the list of quarterbacks in that conference? Never mind, you got the whole Baltimore-Washington thing. Washington's got an attendance problem, a big one.
Which would be fixed in a nanosecond if they win. They may hate the owner. They hate losing more than they hate their owner. They hate mediocrity. They hate being a bad football team. Trust me, if they win, people show up.
I mean, Washington had to give up 2 first-round picks. Well, where's their 16th pick in this year's draft? I mean, okay, I give up number 16 and I give up something next year. Okay. By the way, you're spending $6 to $7 billion to buy this franchise. You can't afford Lamar Jackson?
Well, on the other side of it, it's like I said, I could see Snyder doing it, giving him the guaranteed contract as a big middle finger to every owner in the league as a parting gift.
Wow, that is so brilliant by you. That is outstanding. I like my suggestion even more now. I didn't even think about that when I threw it out there. I just thought they needed a quarterback.
And they do.
I didn't realize Dan Snyder has a chance to go all Dan Snyder.
We'll go all Jim Larranaga next. He is the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes basketball team, and they are in the Final Four. And he will join us next on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again. Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Bud Elliott put a tweet up, David. If college football's playoff had 2 5s, a 6, and a 9, be Oregon State, Ole Miss, Iowa, and Louisville.
Boy, Mark, that is such genius. What a gift for Snyder to give to the NFL on his way out the door.
Coach L's on hold. We're back in 15.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour. We're thrilled to be joined once again by Jim Larranaga, the men's basketball coach at Miami. And he's working this weekend because he and they are in the Final Four. Coach, it's David and Mark once again. Thank you for continuing to come on our show despite all your success. How are you?
Well, it's my pleasure, and I love we're in the Final Four.
Listen, you obviously had been here before, but this school, this program, your group of guys had not. What have you observed in the last 36 hours that has just meant the most to you?
Well, first of all, I begin by saying this group of guys have worked so hard from starting back in July. And I can remember very distinctly when Nigel Pack went into the gym to shoot with Isaiah Wong, how quickly those guys became fast friends. And I love seeing it. And this team has really been together from day one.
You've talked on our show a couple of times, and I've heard you say it on national media, is how this team kind of coaches itself. I now have watched, anytime there's a media timeout and they show your bench, I'm watching your guys because it seems every time, whether it's you, whether it's an assistant, whether it's a player, it almost seems that you've talked about this, but you've turned them into not just a team, but a group of leaders. And each one of them can lead in a different way.
That's absolutely true. And I think in all the success we enjoyed last year in getting to the Elite Eight, it was the leadership that those guys showed. And now this year, it's just gotten better. Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller, two seniors who reached the Elite Eight last year and were so determined to lead the team beyond the Elite Eight, get us to the Final Four. And then you got Norshad Omir, who I'm meeting with my coaches at a timeout and talking to them. When I turn around, here's Norshad Omir sitting in my seat and giving direction to his teammates. So it's great to have leaders, people who are willing to share their thoughts and encourage their teammates.
Coach, I know you don't give yourself a lot of credit publicly, but I thought, for whatever that's worth, when you made the decision to bring Omir back in when you did, he picked up his fourth foul with 11 minutes to go. A lot of times a coach will wait to that under 8 media timeout. You put him back in a minute before then. He had 5 points, 5 rebounds, and a steal, all with 4 fouls in the final 9 minutes of the game. I thought he played his best basketball down the stretch.
Yeah, Norshad is such an aggressive player. And you really don't want to discourage that. You really want to encourage him to just be who he is. Yeah, my concern always is because he's such a great rebounder, he might go over someone's back. He has to switch on ball screens. I'm afraid he's going to foul a guard. He likes to drive to the basket, so I'm always afraid he might drive in and be called for a charge. So when you have a player like him, you got to constantly be giving him quality rest so he doesn't get a foul based on fatigue. And we held him out for a portion, but we put him back in when we felt like the game was on the line, and if we were going to make a run, it had to be with 8 minutes to go, not with 4 minutes to go. So we put him in, and he stayed out of foul trouble. He did not commit that 5th foul, and it was great. And he was hugging his teammates the whole time, bringing them together. He is a really sensational young man.
You guys seem to have the ability with your offense to put pressure on other teams. I mean, the way you scored the basketball on that run where you didn't miss for what seemed like a few minutes there, it seemed to really take it to Texas, and they had they seemed to succumb to the pressure of scoring. Just talk about what your team does spreading teams out offensively.
Yeah, every opponent is different. Their defensive strategies are different. When we played Houston, they packed it in, so we made 11 threes. Texas, on the other hand, is out there denying pressure in your guard. So we told the guys to attack, get to the foul line. And by the end of the game, we had made 28 free throws to their 11. We outscored them from the foul line by 17 points. So that's basically what strategy does, and the players implemented the game plan. Now, we didn't take many threes. We only made 2 for 8. But the way you score is you got to take advantage of what the opponent gives you. So in the game against Texas, we spread them out, and the guys drove, whether it was Wooga Poplar, or Isaiah Wong, or Jordan Miller, who went 13 for 13 from the foul line.
He's Jim Larranaga. He's the head coach at Miami, and he and the Canes are in the Final Four. They'll play the late semifinal Saturday night against UConn. You can follow the coach on Twitter, Canes Coach L, Canes Coach L. Offensively, you go back to 5 minutes to go in the first round game against Drake. You end that game on a 16-1 run, and you've scored 85, 89, and 88. Now, part of the reason that, we were singing your guys' tunes throughout the year was we thought you guys were an 80-point-a-game team and you'd have success in the tournament because of it. But that's not easy to do, average damn near 90 points a game in 3+ tournament games. I mean, offensively, it seems as if, for whatever reason, with about 5 minutes to go against Drake, you guys figured it out and nobody has been able to stop you.
I appreciate you noticing that. I think, one of the reasons is our starting 5 all can really score the ball. Nigel Pack has over 1,000 career points. Isaiah Wong has over 1,600 career points. Wooga Poplar is coming on very strong as a sophomore. Jordan Miller has almost 1,600 points, and Norshad Omir has over 1,000 career points. So those guys are very, very confident in scoring the ball against any kind of defense.
And Miller perfect in his last game. That was just something to behold. What have you seen? I know you've had to start advancing. What does UConn do really well?
I'd say everything right now. They're very, very aggressive. They're very big. Hawkins, their premier shooting guard, is a handful. But Danny Hurley, their head coach, he and I go way back. He's part of a basketball family like I am. Danny's brother Bobby coaches at Arizona State. His father's in the Basketball Hall of Fame, coached St. Anthony's High School in Jersey City for decades. And Danny has his team very, very well prepared. They are defeating their opponents by an average of over 20 points a game in NCAA tournament play.
Which is very difficult to do and very impressive. You know, obviously Texas came into the game against you wanting to take away your threes because of what you did against Houston, and you had to beat them some other way. When you look at UConn, they're doing everything so well right now. If there's one part of them that you could slow down or alter, where would you start?
Well, first of all, if there was such a strategy, I would not be sharing it with our listening audience when it gets back to Connecticut.
You make a dadgum good point, Coach. Make a dadgum good point. What do you think? It struck us after the win how much your players talked about the loss in the Elite Eight last year, in which I remember the players saying to Tracy Wolfson, you just have no idea what it's like to lose in the Elite Eight. It's the worst. And we were just absolutely determined. We have to take the next step. And I'm just wondering if you sense that in the 48 hours in between the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, how it just seemed as if your players would have signed any piece of paper to win one more game.
Yeah, I could see it in their eyes. I could hear it in their conversations. Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong in particular said it hurt so bad last year, knowing you were that close to getting to the Final Four. We were up 6 against Kansas at the half of the Elite Eight game, and then they basically took it to us and got us in foul trouble. And we weren't able to close the deal. So this year we did. We were the team that was behind at the half and came back and really finished strong.
Was there anything that had to be said in that last, when you were down 10 there, the last break when you're down a lot of points? How did that go? Or was it, like you said before, your players did the talking?
Well, it's both. My message to them is, hey, we've got to play better. No, we haven't played as well as we're capable of playing, and we've got to be on the attack. And with our defense, we won't get any stops. Texas was playing with a tremendous amount of confidence because they were scoring so regularly. So we needed to stop that, and we did it. We made an adjustment in our defense. We've been trapping ball screens. We switched to switching ball screens, so that didn't leave anybody open. And as a result, we got a few stops, and then we scored in transition before they could get their very good defense back. And that gave us a lot of confidence, and I think it shook their confidence a little bit late in the game.
Coach, we appreciate you making time for us once again. Congratulations, safe travels, all the best. Rest that voice if you can. Stop saying yes to us media people.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye now.
Jim Larranaga, the head coach of the Canes, headed to the Final Four. Believe they'll travel Thursday. They play the late game, 10 to 9, 9 o'clock against UConn.
Keep them out of the elevators.
Right. Hoping to get Joe Zagacki on before they take off on Thursday. So, Levica and Zagacki. I think we're going to have them on the next 2 days.
Would be great.
Zagacki's still catching up on his sleep. That's what he said. We were like, hey, how about Tuesday morning? He's like, I need another night's sleep.
I can't say that I blame him.
No, getting in 4 a.m. yesterday. Okay, that's fair.
And it's not like you're sleeping on the plane.
Not really, no.
Even if you wanted to, they aren't going to let you.
They were down 70-60, 9 minutes to go. He puts Norshad back in the game with 4 fouls. He doesn't wait another minute and a half and bring him in after the media timeout. And they had a 4-point surge before the media timeout, and then they continued the surge afterwards, a 13-2 run to take the lead. They outscored Drake 16-1 to end that game. They outscored Texas 28-11 in the final 9 minutes in the Elite Eight.
Plus 17 from the line. And I know there was fouls late, but to add to that, but it was their driving ability to get to the line throughout that game, and they were terrific from the free throw line.
And as he said, they didn't get any stops for 31 minutes. They got a lot of stops in the final 9. And that changed everything. Mark, the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida Atlantic Owls are in the Final Four in men's basketball.
It's amazing. First off, it's pretty amazing what the Canes have done in basketball. Take Florida Atlantic out of it, that they have gone to an Elite Eight and a Final Four in consecutive years. It looks as if, at least on the basketball side, Ruiz and the NIL and everything's swimming along because they brought players in to make this happen. This is certainly a team, David, of the new college sports era. Make no mistake.
Well, let's see. The Cavender twins for the women, and they get to the Elite Eight, first time that they had gotten past the first week of the tournament under Katie Meyer, and she's had a successful run, okay, but had not had tournament success. But they add 2 guards into their rotation, and they take the next step and then some. And obviously, look at what's happened to Miami in the last 2 years. Coming off of 2 down years for the Canes. They had kind of began to sag a little bit. I mean, the word is Pac's getting $80,000.
Worth every penny.
You think?
May need to give him a raise.
I mean, really? That's all it costs to get an elite guard? Seriously? That's it? I mean, hell, the director of basketball operations is making more than that.
But this is a new product. We'll see how long they can continue it to see if others can jump on board and do the same thing. A lot easier to not necessarily become a blue blood, David, but become really good in today's world. Call it whatever you want.
Well, I think if you're a Canes football fan, it should bode well. Miami clearly has their NIL act together. It's paid immediate dividends in basketball. And even though they're not winning yet, Mark, on the field, they're winning on the recruiting trail. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Could Dusty May slide into that Temple job? Have you seen his name there at all? I'm just curious to see if he doesn't have any ties up there, does he?
He's way beyond Temple at this point. No. That was a good little show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Buried in bourbon. When's the last time you went to a spring training game? Felipe went yesterday.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, final Tuesday of the month. Less than 24 hours away from giving away opening day tickets to the Rays and Tigers at the Trop. The game is Thursday afternoon at 3. We'll give the tickets away tomorrow morning. All you have to do is send us a text to register to win. Keyword Rays, R-A-Y-S. Send it to 21,000. You're in. We'll give away the tickets tomorrow. Hot steaming deal. We'll be broadcasting live Thursday morning in a van down by the river in the darkness. But we'll be there.
Making any of this up. Outside of the darkness, we don't know for sure if we're going to be completely in the dark. And that's only because we're going to bring lights.
Hopefully it's not as foggy as it is right now.
Yeah, really. And hopefully we got a power supply and all that. I'll bring the big, long extension cord. How about that? We should probably coordinate the equipment that we have to bring between the two of us.
I thought we already did, but that's all right.
Well, listen, I know the headsets are on me.
Everything else is on me.
Oh, okay. Because I have a long extension cord.
Look at that.
I got, one of those multi, plug outlet things. I'll put it this way. I'll bring some stuff just in case you need it.
Sounds like a plan.
It'll be great. It'll be 5 a.m. We'll be setting up our equipment in the darkness. It'll be fantastic. One of us will be holding the light from our phones so that the other could set things up. It'll be great. We'll be
and
outside.
they get to drive over the Skyway Bridge on top of it.
Sorry, very sorry about that. I did not realize, I know we can't say no. It's our boss. I mean, he rarely talks to us. So when he does, we have to say yes. But if I had known it was going to be this traumatic, I don't know. I would have begged off. I would have tried to anyway. Probably to no avail, but would have begged off. Would have said, listen, can we just give the tickets away? How about if we just mention a couple places? We'll plug them. We don't even have to be there. Hell, if you want, we could record the liners and do the show the way we normally do on Thursday and just have recorded liners and mention the places you want us to mention. But no, going to be there. For our vast Tampa St. Pete audience, to come see us, particularly at that hour. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're broadcasting leading right up to the game or anything.
No. In fact, we're not staying for the game.
No.
Because I have to be back.
You're right. No, they did ask.
No, there was a ticket available for me, but
Yes, right. I know.
I've got obligations.
Right. They said, are you guys staying for the game? And I said, no. And they were a little taken aback. And it's like, well, it's a 2-hour drive. It's a 3.5-hour drive. If we stay for the game ends around 6. Just saying, traffic. We've got lives. That's
Not
all.
really.
Well, that's our story to them. I mean, they don't have to know that the women in our lives can do without us. I mean, just, as long as twice a month that paycheck goes in the account. I mean, otherwise, whatever. It's negotiable. Listen, I learned something on the show today.
Yeah?
All right. I hope it never applies. I did not realize that there's like a Leo DiCaprio dating formula.
Okay, so Tom Brady's back on the market, apparently dating, according to the very reliable source that is page 6 of the New York Post.
Right. Of course, they have no idea who he's dating, but they're saying that he's, quote, back in the game again. Right. Okay.
And I just suggested, is he going to go all Leo and go very young
in
his dating life?
Right. And I said, well, is there like a, protocol here? Is there a Leo protocol?
And the formula I had always been given.
Now, you were given this. This is not your
It's
formula.
not my formula. This is actually from one of my wife's friends. Take your age in years, cut it in half, and add 9. That is the lowest age that you can date. I'm 53. We'll just round up 54, 27, add 9, 36. So I cannot date anybody under the age of 36.
Okay. I'm 57. So, round up 58, cut it in half. That's 29. So 38 for me.
Right. Brady's 45.
Correct.
So 22, because he looks younger. 31 is his floor.
So he can't go younger than 31.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Well, Leo breaks these rules all the time, and he's Leo again.
He just does the half. He doesn't add the 9.
Nope.
No, he just does the half. What's he, 48 now? We looked that up. So, yeah, Leo basically,
just does the half.
Yeah, because once they turn 25, he's not interested. Is that like a sign we have to hold up next time we see Leo? Leo, add the 9. I do think it's time for him to add the 9. It got to be. At what age does it become a little creepy?
Now.
I was going to say, I mean, they make the jokes at the award shows. They've been making these jokes pretty much all through his 40s. But, I mean, at what point do you just stop making the jokes and go, no, seriously?
I guess when the women start saying no to going out on dates with him.
Yeah, well, he's Leo DiCaprio. I hear that's, that helps.
Doesn't hurt.
So cut it in half, add 9.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to bring that up at dinner today. I'm going to say, honey, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm in this for the long haul, but I was given a plan B formula, and the same applies to you too, honey. Okay. So, if by chance you're not in it for the long haul, which if you had to put up with me, I think most people would understand. But so here we go. Cut it in half, add 9. Now, here's the thing. My wife is terrible at math. I handle all the money, okay, because not good. So I will probably have to write out the formula for her and say, by the way, here, tuck this in, put it in your purse. Okay, this is what it means. Okay, for you, 35. That's what it means right there, 35. Okay, just remember that.
I like the fact that you go right to this being dinner conversation.
Totally.
I'm going to tell my wife, in case things don't work out for us,
right?
Here are the age restrictions that we have to go by.
Right at the moment that she's thinking, I'm going to have a nice meal with my husband, and then we're going to watch a show or two together, sitting next to one another, maybe, stretched out, and, in our recline, we've got one of those, couches where we each have our recliner. We hold hands in the middle. I mean, it's so romantic, Mark. We put a pillow in the middle. Okay. We're holding hands. We're watching, our reruns of tremendously bad television. All right. Just, our years fading away before our eyes. But, okay. And so now I'm going to say, honey, I mean, if by chance you want to do better than this, and I don't know how you can, but if you want to do better than this, here's the formula.
Always good to have a formula. A reminder, that formula for Rays tickets to go to opening day is by texting raise to 21,000. It's that simple. One of the easier formulas. You don't even have to add 9. You just have to text raise to 21,000.
I will say this. Some people are younger looking than others. Like, I went gray pretty early. I am not a young looking guy because of my gray hair. If I dyed my hair, I'd look a lot younger. But I look my age. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I look my age. Maybe even a couple years older, right?
So I think I would guess pretty close to what you are.
Okay. I think you're a younger looking guy. Like, you haven't gone gray. You've got 4 gray hairs, and 3 of them miraculously fall out every month. It's amazing. You're still a young looking guy. Tan, got the dark hair, the whole deal. You know, our wives are young looking. Okay. So, you know, the formula really works for them. You know, like for me, it'd be ridiculous. It's like, seriously, dude? Like, add 15 years. Look how old you are.
Was there a lot of gray in the Moulton mustache?
No, not for the longest time. Now, I haven't worn a mustache for 20 years, but when I had, I didn't go gray till my mid 40s.
And it went.
And it did.
You went from salt and pepper to salt.
Yes.
Seemingly overnight.
Mm-hmm. I'm just glad it stayed on my head. Based on my family dynamic, I was led to believe I was going to hit my mid 40s. It was just going to all disappear. So it stayed. It just went white. Got that from my mom's mom. She had white hair in her mid 40s. Full head of white hair.
And I got a kick out of it because one of our old coworkers, I happened to see a picture of him recently who also looked younger, but he's starting to go gray.
Mm.
And he's got good dark hair. And I went, look at you. Look what happened.
And you've got like 3 years where you're looking distinguished. You know, you got the salt and pepper thing going. Okay. But boy, when the salt takes over, all right, it's like a run in a basketball tournament. It's like the Canes down the stretch against Texas, Mark. Just shot after shot after shot. That's the gray / white hair. Once they feel like they've turned the corner and it's going downhill, they are taking it to the hole and they are getting fouled.
It was kind of more like the Drake game. It was that 18-1 run in some cases for a lot of people. It just came, took over, and that was it.
Miller and Moulton. Dusty May on the show yesterday. If you missed it, download it, floridasportsnetwork.com. Jim Larranaga on the show last hour. If you missed it, same deal. floridasportsnetwork.com. Download what you missed.
David tried to get the keys to the game out of Larranaga.
Right. Thought it was an excellent question.
I think he thought it was an excellent question. I give Jim Larranaga credit. He's answered every question we've asked but that one. It's probably the only question he didn't answer because he's like, I can't tell you how I'm going to attack Connecticut yet.
I didn't ask him how he was going to. And I didn't ask him how he was going to attack it. All I asked him was, listen, they're on a roll. It's all working. Okay. You make the list of things that are working. It's like 8 things. Where do you start? You know, it's just something simple like, got to take away the inside game or, got to pressure the guards. Just something generic like that.
He wasn't having it.
No, he wasn't.
Miller and Moulton.
Telling you.
We'll get some more of us on the other side. Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Look at Tom, man. Posting shirtless pics at the beach with all his former teammates.
If you think Tom posted that, you're nuts.
Right, but he's hoeing out right now. He's in the hoe phase.
I'll tell you, I really like FAU Saturday. I obviously could be dead wrong.
I don't.
I love them.
Too physical.
They handled Tennessee.
I agree.
For what it's worth, Julian Edelman had all 4 teams in the Final Four in his bracket lose in the first round.
Seton from the Dan Patrick Show's wife had all 4 Final Four teams, period.
Whoa.
Aaron O'Connor, Seton O'Connor, right? Aaron, she had her on the show yesterday, how she came up with her bracket. She goes, well, I lived in Miami, lived in San Diego, I live in Connecticut. And since I spent a lot of time in Florida, I took Florida Atlantic.
OMG.
I mean, basically it's 1 in 600,000.
Yes, Spitz. Nance said it during the broadcast.
Seconds. Also, Tom Brady's oldest son looks just like him. Like, it's weird.
That's the one he had with Bridget.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day win, and our final thoughts coming up in a little more than 20 minutes' time. Seth Everett will be on the show tomorrow. I think we may go to the broadcasters tomorrow between Joe Sagacki and Ken Levicka from Miami and FAU. Half the Final Four mark the state of Florida. 2 schools never been there before.
Throw in San Diego State, who's never been there before. We got 3 of the 4 teams that have never seen this game.
No 1, no 2, no 3 seeds in the Final Four. That had never happened before. Just remarkable. Much is going to be made, by the way. The ratings are going to be down. I mean, think about it. We had Kansas, Duke, Carolina, Coach K's last game. I mean, come on. The ratings last year for the Final Four were outstanding. But Kansas Villanova was the early game, for goodness sakes. This year it's FAU San Diego State. I mean, come on. Do the math. Duke Carolina, the nightcap. Coach K's swan song. I mean, Duke Carolina is the highest rated game every year. Every year it's the highest rated college basketball game.
And last year they played in the tournament, which they'd never done before.
Right. So, much is going to be made. Oh, the Final Four ratings are down. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it's FAU, Miami, San Diego State, and UConn. Yeah, it's going to be down. Relax. This is not going to be every year either. I don't think. I think this is clearly the aberration. But people are freaking out, Mark. Oh, it's with NIL and the transfer portal. Is this what college basketball is going to be going forward?
And so what if it is? This tournament was terrific.
Yeah. Ratings really good, by the way. Really good. Elite 8 slightly down compared to last year. Okay, once again, do we have to rattle through the teams again? But only down 5%, by the way, compared to last year. I mean, people were pretty much just as into it. With no blue bloods? So, but they'll be down, How big a storyline's Nance, by the way?
Pretty darn big. I think it would have been bigger if Houston would still be playing.
His alma mater.
But how many in a row is this?
Well, he's done every one since 91. So this would have been 33, but they canceled the one tournament. So he's done 32 in a row. I mean, for a generation, beyond Felipe, can anybody remember who did the last championship game that wasn't Jim Nance? It was Brent Musburger. It was UNLV blowing out Duke by 30 in 1990. That was his last day for CBS. He basically announced that they couldn't reach agreement on a contract, and I'm out of here. That was the post game. And it was a shock. You know, there was no internet then. There was no Andrew Marchand breaking that story before the game. Brett Musburger told us CBS was done with him right before they played One Shining Moment. It was like, wait, what?
I mean, think about it. For you and I, this is our whole adult lives. Nance has been calling these games.
Yeah, I was 25 the last time somebody else called this game. Right. I'm 57. Mm-hmm. You know, and I understand people don't have the emotional attachment to sportscasters the way they used to. But for a national member of the media, I mean, you know, think about it. He's done every Masters since it's either 94 or 95. He's been in the tower because Summerall left CBS to go to Fox. And I'm trying to think. I think he did the 94 Masters because the football season didn't start till August. Okay. He wanted to keep doing the U.S. Open tennis. CBS said no and said, nope, you're going to Fox. You're out. But
so Iron Eagles getting the gig, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll be curious if Jay Wright, I'll be curious if it's still Grant Hill and Bill Raftery. Raff, I think, is 80. I'll be curious if Ian and Raftery did 25 years of Nets games together. I mean, they have great chemistry.
Yeah, I don't think Raff's going anywhere anytime soon. He doesn't seem like he wants to quit. He works for 74 networks and does every single game of college basketball.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to have to tell Raft it's over. He's not going to raise his hand and say, I'm done. That's true. But, and I don't know if, you know, people really care. But, you know, when you have FAU, San Diego State, and Miami, I'm telling you, the national media is going to get around to, man, I got to come up with a story. Well, how about I do the Nance story? And it's not like Nance isn't going to talk.
Man, that is, I mean, I was 20 when Musburger did that game. I was still in college.
Now Nance is still doing the Masters. I think, and by the way, Spitz in our Twitch chat room saying Nance has anchored coverage of the Masters. No, he's been a part of the Masters since 86. I mean, his first Masters was Jack. He and Weiskopf did the 16th hole together. But in the tower at 18, he replaced Summerall. And I think Summerall had the job through the 94 Masters. I think Nance's first Masters was Crenshaw.
But I'm with, you know, Felipe, you've never heard anybody else do a Final Four. Does it matter to you that Iron Eagle's doing it next year? I mean, is Nance that? I'm just curious because for us, broadcasters are a bigger deal. I don't know about the next generation.
I mean, you know me. Personally, I prefer Harlan, but Iron Eagle is just as good. And he's earned it, frankly. And, you know, it's not like we have Marv Albert because he's retired and old. So, you know, these are our options.
And Iron Eagle's early 50s. I mean, you know, Iron can have a run here.
Yes.
I mean, in fact, you know, I think CBS and Turner have this tournament through the mid-2030s. And I'd be willing to bet right now Ian does them all for the rest of this contract.
I'm curious as to why they don't give Harlan that role, though.
Well, for the tournament, Harlan's seen as a Turner broadcaster. Like, they have 4 regions. 2 of them are Turner broadcasters. 2 of them are CBS broadcasters. So CBS chose Nance and Ian. Turner goes Harlan and Brian Anderson. So for the tournament, Harlan is Turner. For the NFL, he's CBS. But his basketball work, college and pro, he does for Turner. His football, he does for CBS on television and Westwood One on the radio. So what will be interesting next year is who, like, I think because he had such a good tournament, like, I think CBS will now make Andrew Catalan their second voice, that it'll be Ian and Catalan, and it'll still be Harlan and Brian Anderson for Turner. Catalan did the FDU Purdue and FAU FDU game, and he had a really good tournament. But I'm just wondering, does anybody care about this sort of thing?
This could be a Miller and Moulton thing, as a couple of announcements.
Yeah, totally. And also, I have always been curious as to whether or not people do they love Nance. Like, people like Nance.
That's where I don't love Nance, but I like Nance. I don't like the fact that it sounds like most of his endings are scripted. That bothers me. I like a more organic broadcast. I feel that he doesn't have that sometimes.
And it could very much be, a generational thing. Like, America really cared about Summerall and Madden breaking up and Pat going away. Now, a generation later, do they care about Nance and Buck and anybody else?
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Joel Embiid has missed 14 games this year. Only one player in NBA history has one MVP missing those amount of games. Can you guess that player? It was a big man.
Wilt Chamberlain. I don't know.
It was Bill Walton.
Spitz, Nance is never going to give up the NFL. Because when you give up the number one spot, you give up the Super Bowl. He's also on record saying he wants to do 14 more Masters. He wants to do 51 Masters. Because apparently his 51st Masters would be the 100th Masters, 2036. So And Nance, I believe 62. I think. '63. He turned 64 in May. So Jim wants to do the Masters well into his mid-70s, where he's the guy in the tower. Let's see. Jim's got the Super Bowl coming up this season. He's got 3 more Super Bowls under this contract, which will take him into his early 70s. I think he was persuaded, Spitz, to give up hoops, that CBS had to offer Ian something. I don't know that for a fact, but I think that that he loves actually doing Championship Monday and then flying private to Augusta. And no, he I think CBS just convinced him, hey, you do everything. We need to give other guys an opportunity here.
$45 seconds. $10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes till the top of the hour. About 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, Bad, and Ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, all coming up. Seth Everett will join us on the show tomorrow. We'll also give away our Rays Tigers opening day tickets during the show tomorrow. So time running out for you to register to win. Send us a text, keyword Rays, RAYS. Send it to 21,000. That's it. You're in. Chance to win. How about that? Sorry.
That's the appropriate time for that. It was a baseball read after all. I mean, if you're going to throw that, how throw that in there? How about that? That's probably the right place.
Thanks for covering for me there. I know I violated the golden rule there.
No, you've slipped it in at appropriate times. You got on a roll last week where it was several times a show, and I was ready to jump through the screen, but you've calmed yourself. You reeled it back in a little bit. Now it's just trying to figure out when you can insert it. But I may spend an afternoon on YouTube trying to find old This Week in Baseball episodes just for the heck of it.
Little Mel Allen for you.
Yep.
How about that?
It's
This
time
week
for you to take
in
notes.
baseball.
If for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry, here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Not a lot today. The greatest show on earth, formed by P.T. Barnum and James Bailey, started today in 1881. 1885, the U.S. Salvation Army is officially organized. 1924, WGN-AM begins radio transmissions.
Nice.
Today in 1950, CCNY beats Bradley to win the NCAA championship, becoming the first team to win the NCAA and the NIT in the same year.
See what they did there? The tournaments were separate. They'd play the one, and then they'd play the other.
71, the last original edition of the Ed Sullivan Show, broadcast on CBS. Today in 72, Elvis records his final top 10 hit, Burning Love. And Wilt in 72 plays his last pro basketball game. Today in 77, Marquette beats North Carolina. Al McGuire would retire following the win. Today in 79, we had a partial meltdown at 3 Mile Island.
Is that like a moderate heart attack? You know, it's
As long as,
moderate.
as long as it's someone else's, right?
Right. I mean, just, you know, well, we've had a partial nuclear reactor meltdown. Just how partial? You know, how close do you have to be to this sucker?
Today in 82 was the first NCAA women's basketball championship.
I believe it was the AIAW
Before that?
Yeah.
La Tech is your winner in the first one.
La Tech USC were the dominant early programs, and as Pat Summitt was bringing Tennessee along.
Today in 1990, Jordan scores 69. It was the fourth time he had scored 60-plus points in a game. And a bunch of players were decided this year. The 99 players, Duval wins. The 04 players, Adam Scott wins. And the 05 players, 48-year-old Fred Funk wins.
By the way, what year for Jordan?
90.
Okay.
Those celebrating birthdays today, Rick Barry, 79. Reba McEntire is 68. Keith DeChuck is 51. Luke Walton is 43. And Lady Gaga is 37.
Rick Barry will be all over this Final Four, won't he? Former Kane.
They got the Rick Barry patches on their jerseys.
Rick Barry, I believe, was in Naples yesterday at that all-star event that he's at every year. I believe that event was held yesterday. Gatto, you missed a few things today, in my opinion. You know, for whatever that's worth. Eisenhower died on this day in 69. Now, I mean, you know, he wasn't president when he died, but I'm just saying, you know, president died on this day. The Colts moved to Indianapolis today. The Mayflower thing was today.
Wow. That I did miss something.
March 28th, the morning of. It's like, hey, wait a minute. Are those moving vans? As a matter of fact, they are. Wait a minute. That's an NFL team. Where are they going? Well, as a matter of fact, they're going west, going to Indianapolis. Wait, what? Uh-huh. Yep. Started in the middle of the night while Baltimore was sleeping. Then you got that one news crew. They got tipped off, and they got those pictures from a distance. And the Mayflower vans pulling out. Colts offices were in Owings Mills, Maryland.
I'm going to have to write my little site here because they don't even have that on the list. That bothers me.
So, and this is remember Elway the year before in the draft said, I do not want to be drafted by the Colts. I will not play for the Colts. And one of the reasons that he and his dad gave was the stability of the franchise. And people mocked him for it. Said, come on now, you're just playing the baseball against the football thing. And, it's fine. You want to make a business decision. But come on, really? An NFL franchise? Okay, it's going to move. And so 11 months later, him and his dad were like, you guys want to line up for the apologies? How do you want to do this?
Today in 1992, White Men Can't Jump released in theaters. Classic basketball movie with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, if you ever feel old, that movie came out 31 years ago.
No, 31-year-old movie doesn't make me feel old. Felipe calling that movie making him feel old makes me feel old.
Glad I could help.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Sally Germain. Her husband passed a year ago. They lived and were married for 62 years together. She's at Moorings Park community in Naples. Her husband was an avid car enthusiast, so when Moorings Park offered a trip to Homestead, she said she and 15 of her fellow residents were given a chance to drive the sports car of their choice.
Oh, wow.
So Sally took the Porsche GT6 out on Homestead. Had her husband's driver's license with her. Pretty cool little story. Good for her. For the bad, we go to Newport News, Virginia, where two criminals broke out of jail. Discovered in a routine head count. It didn't take long for authorities to find them because the first thing they apparently needed were pancakes.
Now, come on. You and I have never been incarcerated. Who knows if after a certain period of time, what it is, we'd be jonesing for right away.
They went to the IHOP in Hampton, Virginia, where other patrons called police, and they were arrested without incident.
Well, I was going to say, they probably weren't dressed for it, right? I mean,
the one guy was in jail for probation violations and contempt of court. I can't imagine he was serving that much time that he thought he needed to break out of jail so he could get another 10 years added to his sentence.
Right. Come on, man. But my thought is, isn't somebody sitting there in like a prison jumpsuit? I mean, isn't that kind of a giveaway?
You mean the numbers across your chest maybe gave it away?
I mean, the only day you could break out and do that is Halloween. People go, wow, it's a hell of a costume.
For the ugly, we go to Golden Gate Estates, where Daniel Lickle was arrested Sunday night after refusing to move to a safe area and preventing firefighters from battling the flames during an active scene. You see, Lickle's RV was on fire, and he was trying to stop authorities from putting out the fire.
Huh. Makes one think maybe he set the fire.
He was told to step away several times, refused, and then he resisted arrest as well. So his day got considerably worse.
Don't you have to hit him with the hose if you're the fire department? You're just so annoyed. You're like, sir, get out of the way. You're in my way. Don't you just take all that water pressure and you just knock him right on his butt? You're out of the way now. Blankety blank. Then you go to fight in the fire.
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 28th, 2023.
Let me get this straight. I'm risking my life to put out your fire, and you're getting in my way? Okay. This is not going to end well for you. I'm just saying.
6 NBA games tonight, including the Heat. They are in Toronto, where the Raptors are a 3.5-point favorite. The Magic on the road in Memphis. Memphis a 7-point favorite.
By the way, that Heat Raptors game's on TNT. It's the first game of the double dip tonight is Heat Raptors. Raptors are tied with the Hawks for the 8th seed. The Heat are tied with the Nets for the 6th seed, but Brooklyn's got the tiebreaker. So this could be the play-in game. This could be 7 versus 8 in the play-in right here.
Pelicans and Golden State, the late game, that could be a good one as well. Carolina hosting the Lightning tonight. I'm trying to figure out this late season Lightning team right now. I think they're just on cruise control, David.
Totally. The Toronto's like, what, 7+ points ahead of them now. So they're like, we're going to finish in third. We were going to open in Toronto. You know, we got 2.5 more weeks to kill, whatever. Game worth paying attention to, Panthers fans, all 4 of you. Penguins in Detroit. This is the game in hand for the Penguins, and they're already 3 points ahead of the Panthers for the final playoff spot. If Pittsburgh wins tonight, Mark, it's going to be difficult for the Panthers to make the playoffs.
It really is. You need to root for the Red Wings tonight. Bruins at home against the Predators. They're simply minus 315 in that one.
NIT tonight, baby. And I'll tell you what, when you get North Texas and Wisconsin and Utah Valley and UAB, I mean, man, if you're ESPN, it's a good thing you're not showing hockey tonight. North Texas is a 1.5-point favorite over Wisconsin. That just sounds strange, doesn't it?
It really does. And UAB is a 3.5-point favorite over Utah Valley. Never even heard of Utah Valley. They must be pretty good. Didn't know they were a college before the NIT started, or until I started looking at Shelby Mass's bracketology and started seeing Utah Valley.
Is it possible that Conference USA wins both the NCAAs and the NIT? I mean, if FAU wins the one and UAB wins the other, I know FAU's leaving and all, but still.
Well, North Texas, too, is Conference USA.
Ha!
Could be an all-conference USA final in the NIT.
You mean the Mean Green there?
The Mean Green.
I think that's what they are.
They are.
But I can't believe you think Lamar is not going to be a Raven. That's the most newsworthy thing that can. That's your hot take of the day.
I think he's going to be a Colt. Although the whole idea of him going to the Washington Commanders is just salty.
Snyder leaving the NFL with that gift. I'll give you 5 for $240.
Hell, I'll give you 6 for $300 and really piss everybody off.
What do I care? Bezos, you want them? $7 billion, you can have them. Guys want to get rid of me? Okay. By the way, Joe Burrow, you'll thank me in a year.
Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert are just hoping he gets this deal right now.
Listen, I can understand the Chargers looking at Herbert and basically saying, we don't have that kind of money, blah, 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 blah. But what in the world is Mike Brown and the Bengals going to do? I mean, Burrow's taking him to the Super Bowl. Herbert hasn't even won a playoff game yet.
Yeah, but Spanos is selling 25% of the team, so the money's going to be there. Can't try poverty if you're selling 25% of the team.
Oh, that's true. That's a couple billion.
That'll pay a quarterback.
It really will.
Miller and Moulton. If you missed any of the show, floridasportsnetwork.com to download it. We thank you so much for listening. We'll do it again all over tomorrow morning. Seth Everett on the show right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.